So I warmly welcome all of you to the third annual knowledge sharing workshop for child protection in Ghana. In 2017, PDA began this workshop as an avenue to share among practitioners, state actors, emerging knowledge and evidence in the space with the intention of informing policy and how evidence can be used to inform decision-making on issues affecting children. In our workshop last year, we shared aspects of a report that we are working together in partnership with some experts and organizations. And your insightful discussions and feedbacks were actually incorporated into the report, which we hope to share with you as soon as we can. This year, we are glad to be partnering with Department of Children on this workshop, and we hope this would lead to more fruitful partnerships between state actors and non-state actors in the area of child protection. Unlike the previous workshops, we have touched broadly on diverse issues within the child protection space. This year, we are focusing specifically on safety of children in schools. As one of the main institutions where children spend most of their time, our objective is to understand how their safety and protection is ensured in school through both government and private state actors. At the end of the event, we hope to put together a communique with key action points and recommendations informed by the conversations we will be having here. Together with the Department of Children, we will follow up on this and report on the progress of the next knowledge sharing workshop. In 2017, when we started this whole initiative, PDA launched an online platform to record and monitor child abuse cases reported in selected media houses in Ghana. We shall be sharing with you a summary of the data we collected since 2017 with a focus on abuse that are occurring within the school environment. Another feature of this year's workshop is the premiering of a documentary on the processes involved in securing justice and rehabilitation for child abuse victims. This documentary throws light on many of the bottlenecks in the pursuit of justice for abused children. We welcome your reaction to this film, and we also hope the issues identified can form key advocacy points for reform. Many organizations, including government agencies, are doing a lot to enhance protection and welfare of children in schools, but very little is known about their work. We have set up stands for organizations to showcase their work. I thank organizations here for agreeing to showcase their work, and it is my hope that through this we can learn from each other, further engage effectively on a common objective of promoting welfare of children in Ghana. Thank you once again for making time to be part of this conversation, and I look forward to an insightful discussion throughout the day. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eden. Who better can we call to give an overview of child protection in Ghana, because that will actually set the scene for today's program. So I would like to call on the Department of Children. Lucy, we are waiting for you. Please, presentation on an overview of child protection in Ghana. Welcome, Lucy.
I am Abna Akwikwa. I'm a senior program officer with the Department of Children. And today, the presentation is on child protection in Ghana. And the outline for the presentation is we'll define what child protection is, what are the child protection issues in Ghana, what constitutes child protection, what is child protection made of, what does child protection requires, the child protection laws and policies in Ghana, the coordinating structures for child protection, programs of child protection, the institutions that are responsible for child protection in Ghana and the last challenges. So let's go to the definition of child protection. We all know what child protection is. It's the prevention and response to violence, exploitation, and abuse against children. The various child protection issues in Ghana ranges from corporal punishment, teenage pregnancy, child trafficking, child abuse, child neglect, child marriage, child labor, child online abuse. The child online abuse is an emerging child protection issues in Ghana. Lack of access to justice and unnecessary institutionalization of children in the country. And we have a child protection system in Ghana, and we have done it in such a way that shows that what constitutes an effective child protection system. It goes round. We should have a proper laws and policies in place to protect our children. Societal behavioral change. As society has to know that children are parts of us and children have the right to be heard. Children need to be protected from harm and abuse. And also things that maybe we used to do it in the past is maybe right now it's not going on well. And things that we think is a norm has to also change right now for the protection of our children. And the various child, family, and welfare justice system in the country also has to change. So it goes around and also protect the children. Society needs to play a role, and the child and family justice services in the country also have to be provided for the children. And all these things goes in line with the social protection programs that we should have in place in Ghana. That also provide a safety net for children who are vulnerable and also need to be taken care of the state. The health system is very, very important. As children who are abused sexually need to go to the hospital for proper care. And our educational system, children need to be educated. And the child protection is made of child and family and justice. So this is the system we have. It is linked in such a way that the child and family welfare is one, and the child justice also, because children need justice. When a child is abused, the child needs to find a way of getting justice for the abuse that is done to the child. And then the note says that child and family and justice for children policies was designed. We have a child and family welfare policy, and have the justice for children policy. These policies were designed and formulated to, it's fit for Ghana because we realize that a child is the center of the community and the child needs to be protected. And we combine the informal and the formal system of protecting children into the policy. So maybe we need the support of everyone in protecting their children. So everybody has a role, the formal and the non-formal sector, the traditional leaders, the authorities, the community leaders, the opinion leaders, religious leaders. Everybody needs to protect the child, and everybody has a role to play in these two policies in protecting the child. So, strengthening the child and protection system requires support from a lot of people. That's I've already said. We have the social welfare authorities to play a role, healthcare providers, the local authorities, schools, the judiciary, NGOs, community leaders, religious leaders, and policy makers. So these are the various child protection laws and policies that are protecting our children. We have the Justice for Children policy, the Child and Family Welfare policy, Social Protection policy, any school feeding policy, any childhood. Coming into force of the Child and Family Welfare policy, we realize that there are lots of issues that protect children that are not in our laws, and they are being amended to suit our new child protection policy, that's the Justice for Children, the Child and Family Welfare policies. And it has gone through a lot of consultation, the amendments, a lot of things have gone into it. Right now it's with the AG's department drafting section. And there were very issues that stakeholders thought that there was I don't know how to say, but contention. There were three issues: to remove corporal punishment from our books, and also the age of sex and marriage in our constitution, that's the Children's Act. And also child online. As I said, child online abuse is an emerging issue, and it's not really captured in our Children's Act. So the new Amendment Act has taken into consideration of all these things, and consultation will be done after the AG's department have finished with the various drafting and amendments, and we'll go around again for consultation and tell stakeholders these are the amendments that are in the Children's Act and what the current bill looks like. Let's go on. So, in the child and family welfare policies and the justice for children, there are coordinating strategies because we need to coordinate the various programs and policies, and also in implementing our child protection laws and policies, we need a proper coordinating strategies. And as I said, the child is in the community and everybody has a role to play in it. Then, so it starts from the down, community child protection. The community child protection committees, the committee, they start from the community child protection, goes to the district, regional and national. With the community child protection, they are only asked to sit on issues that are not criminal. They cannot sit on issues that a child has been abused or raped. It has to be sent to the proper authorities to deliberate on it. Maybe they can sit on child neglect and a child can explain truancy or any other thing, but criminal issues are not supposed to be dealt at the community levels. And this community child protection involves community leaders, traditional leaders, religious leaders, and everybody in the community, like the assemblymen and all those things, because we realize that the community has its own way of arbitrating issues in the community, and in Ghana we need to make use of all those things, because sometimes some people even fear the traditional authorities more than the proper formal authorities. So the traditional leaders sit on this, and then when the chief calls you to the palace, you cannot refuse, you have to go. So these are the community strategies. They report to the district child protection committee and the regional child protection committees. And this involves various stakeholders in the region, districts and communities. In the district, there's social welfare officers, the community development officers, the STRIDE, child labor unit, and other Ministry of Department, GS, Ghana Education Service. They are all involved in the committee. So these are the various programs in child protection. As I said, we are strengthening the child protection system through laws and policies. We have the capitation grants, the child labor monitoring system. And this child labor monitoring system, they go around to monitor children involved in worst forms of labor and take information about these children. And it's also linked to the National Targeting Monitoring System, that is the Ghana Household Registry. They go around collecting data on the various households for various interventions. So it is linked to the Ghana Household Registry, where when they go for the data, and they have indicators that show that triggers maybe something the child is in a situation and it might trigger child labor. So they have those information, and the child labor unit has access to those systems, so it triggers and they are able to rescue these children from all forms of child labor. We have the LEAP program, that is the cash transfer for children, and children that are enrolled in the LEAP program must go to school. They are also enrolled in the National Health Insurance Scheme, and also the children are given money, their guardians are given money to take care of them. So if they go for monitoring, these children are not in school, then the guardians refund them, because it's a requisite for children who are enrolled into the LEAP program. We have the Ghana School Feeding Program that is going around. We have the free senior high school. The increased number of children being registered under the National Health Insurance. We have the Adolescent Health Connect, and this Adolescent Health Connect is really helping these children to know about their reproductive health rights. And also we have the establishment of the child-friendly course, because sometimes these children go to courses that are supposed to be witnesses to crimes, and we have
other people, the accusers, the perpetrators sitting there, and sometimes they are afraid. So with the help of UNICEF, is piloting the child-friendly course in the judicial service. We have integrating the child-friendly police into the Ghana Police Service. That is training the police service personnel on how to handle children in cases of abuse and other exploitation. You have the MBED program, which is the mobile birth registration, in which they go around registering these children, because birth registration is very, very important. It's a right, and it helps the nation in developing our schools. We should know the number of children who will be 2 years or 3 years, who will be starting school in the next year, and also planning for them. We have the re-entry program for teenage mothers, where children who are gotten pregnant along the way can easily get back to school and continue their education. Pregnancy shouldn't be a hindrance for them. We've also developed the ECD standard for children 0 to 3 years. We have publication and information on children. Ghana reports to the UN and the African Committee on the Rights of the Child. And our next reporting is next year to the UNCRC committee. We have also, Department of Children has also undergone a study on investing in children and dividend. The cost of not investing in our children, of not budgeting for child protection issues in Ghana. We brought copies so everybody can have a look at it. They also Ghanaian Against Child Abuse campaign that is being held, which can throw more light on it. We also have the Child Protection Community Participation Manual tools. These manual tools help the community and other district officers of child protection to go into the community with various animation and programs and tools in educating children and the community members on child protection issues in their community. And also there is a Healthy at School initiative. And this initiative is being done by the Ministry of Health, which takes care of the whole being. As soon as you get pregnant, they give you all the support, the supplements, and all those things that a mother needs to have a safe delivery after the child is born. We go through the child health program, and they encourage exclusive breastfeeding. And the whole lot is about the first 2 years of a child, from pregnancy to when the child is 2 years. Then the expanded program of immunization, where they go around and immunize children. And especially on the child health promotion week, they do that. And also girls on iron phosphate tablets of immunization program. This one, UNICEF supports the Ghana Health Service also to go to communities and give children and give girls especially with iron tablets to increase their blood levels. And also we have the district integrated social service program for children, families, and vulnerable children, which takes care of everything that has to do with the family and children, and all the support that the children need. We go to the institutions that are responsible for child protection. We have a Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and we have the Department of Children, Child Marriage Secretariat, Department of Social Welfare, Child Marriage Unit, and the Domestic Violence Secretariat. The National Development Planning Commission is very, very important because the Department of Children and other partners were able to lobby the National NDPC into including the child protection issues in their budget outline for district assemblies, where all district assemblies need to take care of child protection issues in their respective districts. And it's supposed to be there, so you need to plan and budget for child protection issues in your district. And National Development Planning Commission helped us a lot in including that in their budget guidelines. And also we have the Ministry of Education, we have the Girls Education Unit, Guidance and Counseling Unit, the School Health Education Unit. Also we have the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, that is the Child Labour Unit also, under it health, of course, so Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development, we have the Department of Community Development, and I forgot to add the Office of the Head of Local Government. They've also helped us also in including child protection issues where in the performance agreement of the district, the DC is that they sign with them every year, because if they are going to rate your performance, they need to see child protection issues that you've done something in protecting children in your various district. And they've also included that in their performance agreement. So no DC has the right, no DC can say that I didn't budget for child protection issues, I didn't plan for child protection issues, because it's in your performance agreement that's signed with the Office of the Head of Local Government. We have the Ministry of Interior, where we use the Ghana Police Service, the Immigration Service, that deals with human trafficking and also abuse, the Ministry of Health, the Attorney General's Office, Ghana Police Service, we have SHRAD, Ghana Star Service, and the UN system such as UNICEF, UNFPA, UNESCO, and others. And we also have the international and local NGOs that help us in protecting the child. For the institutions at the district, municipal and metropolitan level, we have the district labor office, we have the district social welfare, the Department of Community Development, the district education office, SHRAD, NCC, Ghana Police Service, and the social staff committee of the district assembly. And in the community, we have the traditional leaders, queen mothers, religious leaders, assembly members, and opinion leaders. Then come to our challenges. Our challenges, we have the non-domestication and / protocols and treaties. We are yet to ratify some of the conventions, such as the optional protocol on. I think this one is ratified it, sorry. The inability to sustain projects and programs funded by donors and stakeholders. Most of the time, these projects are funded by the donors, and when they leave and their funding dry out, the program fizzles out. So you need to find, that's why we've helped in including child protection issues in the district assembly. So when these donor funding is dried out, the district can continue by the DCs funding these projects, and lack of time and continuous specialized management of child protection cases of violence. And also cultural practices inhibiting the ability of survivors of violence and violence to come forward. So most of the time, families are shy to come out and say that their child are raped or abused because of social stigma. And these are the challenges. And sometimes the abuse that we face we see it in our communities, community members don't see it as abuse. They see it as normal because they've gone through it as when they were growing up. So they don't see it, especially like child labor and corporal punishment. Child labor and corporal punishment, they find it they find it as normal, and it's hindering our fight against child abuse. And also poor quality of care given to survivors of violence, which may put them at greater risk. Sometimes the children need psychologists and other forms to overcome the trauma, and there are no such services for these children. I think I'm done. Thank you very much.
Now we want to give the Ghana Education Service the chance to give us a presentation. So please join me to welcome the Director of Girls Education, Madam Benedicta Sage.
I've already been introduced as coming from Girls Education Units. Our unit works for girls. We have to ensure that girls have access to education, they are retained, they achieve, they are able to transit from one level to the other, and then they should be able to rise to wherever they'll get to come out and be achievers and become professional women. That is what we do. When the first speaker started talking, she spoke about re-entry. We are running a program known as re-entry. And that is if girls drop out of school, there should be a way that they would have to come back. And that is what we've been doing. We have been able to come out with these guidelines that we call the guidelines for the prevention of pregnancy among school girls and facilitation of their re-entry into school after childbirth. Initially, it wasn't easy for them to come back because we didn't have guidelines, and each school had to take its own discretion in handling such issues. So the issues varied from school to school. There were disparities. So now that we have the guidelines, everything has been streamlined. We have a document, a letter that has been written to all schools to enable these girls go back smoothly. So how does it operate? So the re-entry, I've already introduced it. So pregnancy among school girls is a gender-related barrier. It has become a barrier, but with the guidelines, things are better now. When they give birth, they have the opportunity to go back to school. That is not to say we are encouraging pregnancy. Our main aim is to prevent it. But now when they give birth, they are able to go back. And we've been able to train a lot of stakeholders. We have trained district directors, we have trained social welfare, DOPSU, teacher unions, heads of institutions, basic and then secondary schools. We've already done that kind of training for them. And civil society as well. We have done that. And then we have also been able to reach out to some people like you, or this program is to let you also know what we are doing. And our target is mostly school girls, teachers, stakeholders, parents, opinion leaders, everybody who matters are our target. And ever since we did this, I said we have already trained a lot of people. And the kind of training we are doing is to let it cascade down. Since we cannot get everybody to train, whoever receives that training or receives that knowledge will also spread the gospel. So now that you are here, when you go back, you also spread the gospel to those who have to hear. And our achievements, the message has gone down now, and the girls who get pregnant are willing to come back to school. At least majority are willing to come back to school. Parents now also know that it is not the end. When their daughters get pregnant, that shouldn't be a barrier or an end. So they are also willing now to take their children and let them go back to school. The schools are also aware that they have to receive them. So it is no more a challenge whereby they'll find it difficult. We don't necessarily have to change their schools, except that the girls want to change their schools. They are able to go back to the same schools that they were. So in brief, this is what I would say. So we have the documents now. At the end of the day, each person can pick a copy. And when you go out, let everybody hear. In your community, if you come across any girl like that, encourage them to go back to school. So with this, we have been able to reduce the dropout level. They would have stayed home, but now they get back to school. The challenge we have is that some people think that we are encouraging girls to give birth and go back to school. No, we are not in a perfect society. We are looking at where these girls will come back to school and contribute their quota to national development. Yes, they might have made a mistake to get into that, but we have to give them a window of hope to come back to school. And then school and get to wherever they will be. If they are able to make it, then they will also pay taxes to the nation. They will be able to also develop and also be able to reduce social violence. Because if they don't come back to school, their children, how are they going to take care of them? You and I, we may be able to take care of our children. We will be sleeping and we will not be safe. Because if others are not safe, then all of us will not be safe. So in a way, we are helping to build a healthy society for Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam. Ladies and gentlemen, I warned you that this is going to be a participatory program. So you are not just supposed to sit and listen, you are supposed to ask questions and give contributions. So we've now opened the floor for all questions and contributions so far. I will begin. Madam, my question is to you. I have a son, teenage son, and every time they have something happening with children, you have a special unit for girls. My question is, do you have a special unit for boys, or is it that you think boys are not at risk? That's my question.
Thank you. Our unit was formed in 1997. There was a need because at that time, data showed that many boys were in school more than girls. So there was a problem that needed to be solved. And for that matter, our unit was established for us to get a lot of girls into school, the access and also retention and so on and so forth. So that was the reason. But in our unit, we don't just work for girls. When we do programs, we include boys. Boys also have a need. But at that time, it was the girls that was challenged, and we did that. We don't leave the boys aside. Whatever we do, we add them. If not, when our girls complete, they won't get husbands. So we are aware of that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You've actually allayed my fears because I was concerned. Questions? Yes, madam.
All right, thank you, Lucy. Madam, please, I want to find out at what level do they re-enter? Is it at the basic level or SHS? And if SHS, especially with this free SHS, how are they able to re-enter? Thank you.
They enter every level, basic every level. The free senior high school too, they enter. That is why I said we have streamlined it. Letters have been written everywhere. So every head knows that they have to accept them. And that is why we continue to do education. The time in which they enter is so important. 3 years. So we want the parents to know so they can take the children as early as possible so that they don't miss so much. Some are able to catch up with their year group people. Others are unable to catch up and they go, maybe their group will be 1 year ahead of them. We have some, since schools were open, some come. Others are unable to go to their schools. They come and we facilitate. Health education, all the units, we have regional coordinators, we have district coordinators, we have school-based coordinators. So when they come, I simply call the regional coordinator. The district in which the school is, they call the district coordinator who will facilitate. The district coordinator will liaise with the director and they will get the school in and they will go back. So far, we haven't faced any challenge of rejection yet. It is working. So parents have to, if you have a very dynamic mother, maybe you should take the child earlier, you join your group. But if it doesn't happen, then it means that you join the next group. Thank you.
Yes, there's a question just next to you.
Unfortunately, it's not a question. It's a contribution. My name is Richard Teshina Casadena, and the guidance and custody. I wrote out to respond to your question that the boy child, and that is why the guidance of education has the guidance and custody that takes care of everybody, be it boy or girl, so that the boy child has issues, the terms of his social needs and what have you in the school, has somebody shoulder to follow when so said the issues come up. So, and then also about the free SHS and the re-entry. That is why if you look at the guidelines, that said prevention of teen pregnancy. So what we are thinking to do with the GS is to prevent the pregnancy from happening. This so that we can get our girls progress throughout their thank you.
Thank you.
Mine is also on re-entry. Are there any success stories as far as reduction in stigma and then academic performance of the girls?
Please, success stories. We have a lot, those who get pregnant are not mostly bad academically. So sometimes we have somebody who is very good academically and the person maybe gets into that situation. The person will, it was in the media last year. A girl went back and since she won an award in one of the districts. We have them. It's just that we don't document them. And sometimes if you have to bring those people, as if we are exposing them. So it's a bit dicey to showcase those people. We have a lot of success stories, especially now that they know they can go back. Even making moves to come back, we want to go back. Parents even coming, they want to go back. It's encouraging. A girl was hand raped in one of the districts, and then she got pregnant. She didn't even know it was the 8th month the school detected it. She gave birth to twins, and the mother took the babies before they were even 2 months, and she's back to school. You see, the parents, she even had to run here from her district. She came to Accra here. So everybody now knows that there's an avenue of hope, a window of hope. So that is all I can say. But we cannot keep parading those girls that this girl has gone back to school and this is her achievement. We look at the achievement aspect. The other aspect is it's like we are tagging or stigmatizing them in a way. So sometimes we want it to be on the right.
Thank you, Madam. In fact, I just want to also find out, is there some way of making this public? Is there publicity around it? Because I'm really pleased to hear that this is happening. I haven't heard about it.
That is why I said any platform we get, so this is another platform.
Right.
So supposing everybody goes back and there's a girl somewhere and you bring the girl back, it's also kind of it. It is all over. The whole country, every school is practicing it now, both public and private schools.
Thank you. Yeah, there's someone who wants to speak.
So this is a contribution, but I want to add quickly to Madam so that the publicity is out. We in the schools, we have announced it severally at our PTA, the community, we use the community address system to address it, it's everywhere. Maybe the need for re-entry, some statistics will help us from the guidelines. I just want to add to what Madam said. That in 2014, 2015, the number of girls that got pregnant, 4,607. So it means that the fact of the issue is that the numbers are alarming. So if we should allow all these children to stay at home, our human capital will go down the drain. So there's a need for re-entry, very important.
Yes, there's a question just back behind here.
Yeah, I think we should have a healthy society, just like Madam said, considering the structural institutions that run with it. But in the solution, he said continuous socialized education is challenging. Now I'm wondering why it should be a challenge, considering the graduates can't turn out of schools. Each year, we have social workers that train students purposely for their welfare. We have social workers at the University of Ghana, UCC has it, River has it. What should this be a challenge? I wish I can take it up again. We take that back again. We said socialized, continuous socialized movement is a big challenge in child protection.
Thank you. We'll take two more because of time. We'll take two more.
Thank you very much. Department of Children, Madam, under the problems or challenges, I saw some bullet points which I need more clarification. Unnecessary institutionalization, abuse online, and the MPEF program. I would like a bit more explanation to that. And then the GES, about the career counseling guidance. Are private schools on their own, or how do you integrate your services, or how are their activities being monitored?
With the unnecessary institutionalization of children found in our children's homes, the Nigerian CRC does not encourage, it's not right for a child to be in their home. The child belongs to a family setting. So when the child's parent or mother is there, people go around, sometimes they take these children and take them to their children's home and use them for other purposes. Sometimes the children are exploited, they are abused. We work with the large numbers in their homes. They don't get the necessary care that they deserve. So we need to place a children. We also need to, I know that the Department of Social Welfare is coming out with a program of encouraging fostering in our communities, where our community, our parents, our cousins, our uncles and our aunties can't take care of these children, not send them to the children's home for care. And MBED program, this is being done by the birth and death registry. And they go around. Sometimes parents are so reluctant to walk to the various health institutions to register these children. So it's a mobile application where they go around and they go to the communities and register the children rather than the parents going to the weighing centers. So they don't even go. They are not even encouraged to go, so they go around. Online abuse is an emerging thing, and sometimes you don't really think about it. You give your child the phone to play on it, and something comes on it. The child is curious. The child clicks on it and goes to that adult side, where the child is not supposed to even see. And sometimes these children you go on the net, maybe for educational purposes, that somehow they click somewhere and somebody tells them to look their addresses and also give them sometimes. They are asked, the children are used, sometimes children are used. They start doing it without anything on this. There are ways of protecting these children. Sometimes parents ourselves have to be very, very vigilant. We shouldn't just give our children our phones to play. Maybe we have to block certain places and make sure maybe if the child is playing a game, take away your data from his life. These unnecessary adverts really roll, especially they come on the games that these children play. And so like my son is very curious. He can just click on it and go somewhere. So he can really go to YouTube and download something. These children are very, very curious. So we as parents, and the education is being done, especially we have a day, Safer Internet Day, where the Ministry of Communication, the Department of Children, because the Child Online Africa, they go around educating children on how to be safe on the internet. And we need as parents, we need to very, very vigilant on Child Online. And make sure that these children are not. And then especially there's another emerging one, gambling, which is sometimes these games that these children go around and play with, should also help to prevent those things, especially during the time that yes.
Thank you. Final question at the back.
Okay, good morning everyone, once again. My question goes to Lucy, right? Sorry, Abena. I'm looking on the sheet, but the question is not here. During your presentation, I did hear a lot of very good social protection interventions, and I think a lot of them also conforms to international standards. I think what I want to understand more is which part of the policy and implementation do we seem to be marketing more? Because when it comes to the implementation of policies, we seem to be able to do it at a much faster rate. And often, we seem to also have a lot of donor support in the formulation of these policies. But when it comes to the implementation component, then either the coverage is not as much, or the awareness of the policy is not also so great. So I just want to understand, how are we able to market the part of policy formulation such that we are able to attract international donors and are able to do it at a faster rate, but are not able to market it as such to get the same funding for implementation?
It's really pinpoints a problem that we have as a system that normally confronts us when it comes to the implementation of our policies. And for the Child and Family Welfare Justice for Children policy, the uniqueness about it is the way we're able to mainstream it into the development framework of the nation, and as well as ensuring that its monitoring is tied to, as you said,
the coordinating director's performance appraiser has a part that he or she is supposed to have achieved a certain milestone for children within their jurisdiction, as well as the mainstreaming of it also across sectors. So when she mentioned, you see that by community development, policy development by children, alternative care and social welfare is sort of shared across sectors. Safe School by Ministry of Education, ensuring that we all have close roles to play that are in line with our mandate and easier to carry and sometimes at a low cost. So that's how innovative being able to do it when it comes to this policy. And that's not to say that we are not having a challenge, but we are having a challenge with areas where it's not being their mandate to know how to do child protection program. So for example, we have the mainstream of child protection into Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs. It's a new area for them, so we are quite sort of struggling there at the moment, but we are all building our capacity to ensure that this thing is understood and there's a formula in place, because we don't want it to be done in a haphazard manner, but we want a system in place that no matter who is there, we can also implement it at the level that we want to. And the next thing that we wanted to also say that leveraging the little resources that we have to sort of also for government to support. For example, this year, government is giving as little as, how much is it? 800,000 Ghana cedis, and the top up that government is receiving, or the MMDAs are receiving from donor partners, is around 4 million Ghana cedis to top up this figure. So it is a matter of putting child protection in your plan, implementing something with this little money from government, and then getting the top up to sometimes 3 or 4 times more than you would have gotten. And this is to ensure that capacity for CP programs are built at the local level, and then these are imbibed and become part of the structure to ensure its sustainability. So these are the kind of the leverages that we are leveraging on as a system, and we are hoping that we'll get all your support, because as one person is leveraging on their resources, if you also leverage on yours to support another district assembly, it makes it easier for us as a country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that note, we will end the session. We want to move on. We are going to take 2 statements. The first statement will come from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. So please join me to welcome the Director of Policy from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection.
Thank you. Good morning. Please let me first sincerely apologize for not being here at the right time. I've listened to PPA dates several years back. My big brother, Tony Dugbe, sitting here. We've been working with him, first in my own private capacity, as well as also a staff from the ministry for quite some years. And this program is very, very dear to our hearts. I promise I'll be here, but not in this capacity, as one of the participants, and I was going to some other program which I have to make a presentation before coming here. But along the line, I was informed our Honorable Deputy is not something I have to replace or deputize for her. So I have to divert and go into the traffic meandering to get a good time. I'm late though, but on behalf of the ministry, we wish to sincerely apologize on behalf of my Honorable Deputy Minister for being here late. But I guess it's better late than never. So we are here. So I'm reading on her behalf the statement. Distinguished chairperson, our reps from the religious bodies, our esteemed chiefs and queens, members of society organizations, organizers of this event, the media, the two invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it an honor to be invited as a keynote speaker to participate in the 3rd annual knowledge sharing workshop on child protection, which seeks to convince stakeholders within the child protection space to deliberate on issues that affect children or child rights and protection in Ghana. I must also commend the PDA that participated in Women Associates for this initiative of bringing together stakeholders in child protection to share knowledge and to network on how best to protect our children in Ghana. Chairperson, this year's theme, protecting the Ghanaian school child, improving effective partnership between state and non-state actors. It's a timely one, and at a time as children in our schools face a lot of child protection issues, which includes bullying, exposure to harmful materials, of course, those in the cyberspace, including sexual abuse, sanitation issues, mode of discipline, among others. And in the protection and development of the Ghanaian school child, the onus lies greatly with the school authorities. This is due to the fact that school-going children spend most of their time of active hours of the day in school, and thus whatever they learn are largely influenced by their teachers, which also goes a long way in impacting on the kind of citizens they will be in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, to buttress this point, a study was conducted by the Department of Children of the Ministry on situational analysis of children in Ghana, and that reveals that 77% of children indicated that the source of knowledge on their rise were their what? Teachers. The source of knowledge that they acquire is from their teachers. The influence of teachers on our children can never be underestimated. It is therefore important and prudent for us that we build the capacity of school authorities on child right promotion and protection issues. Distinguished guests, in an attempt by school authorities to discipline offending school children, sometimes corporal punishment is meted out to them, and this causes physical and emotional harm to the child. And as a step to address this, the Ghana Education Service, we're all aware, for some time now, banned corporal punishment in schools. The aim of promoting a safe and a protective learning environment for children. Ladies and gentlemen, to promote and protect the rights of the Ghanaian child, we as stakeholders need to foster strong partnership and create a robust collaborating environment between the states and the non-state actors, which means a kind of partnership between the state actors and the non-state actors, who I would also want to describe as the duty bearers. These may include designing and implementing sensitization programs, forming child rights clubs, providing child-friendly versions of policies and strategic interventions which seek to promote child protection in our schools. In other words, whatever strategies, whatever plans that we have designed to implement must be child-friendly. The kind of language that we use, the kind of animations that we use, the kind of what they call infographics that we use should be able to be understood easily by the children. While we are developing this document, we should focus on the ultimate beneficiaries the children to easily understand, appreciate it, and to use it. It is very important to do that. The gains achieved by Ghana in protecting the children in our schools is due to the effective collaboration between the states and the non-state actors. And at this point, I want to commend all stakeholders, including those of us present here, for the tireless efforts they made in making the schools safer for our children. Can we clap for ourselves? Thank you. Admittedly, however, there is still more we need to do to strengthen the sensitization of our children on their rights and the reporting channels that are available in situations where their rights are abused. We need to let them know. They should be aware of all that, so that once their rights have been abused, they have the legitimate rights to use those channels to seek for redress, to restore their dignity, and to be able to create that enabling environment to develop their full potentials to become useful citizens of our dear nation. Chairperson, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection has not, and will not relent in its efforts in protecting the rights of our children, especially the school child. The Child and Family Welfare Policy, the Justice for Children Policy, the Children's Act, the establishment of juvenile courts, and other benchmark mechanisms established to help protect and promote the rights of the Ghanaian child. The Ministry held a series of programs, training and capacity building programs on interventions for duty bearers, which aim at enhancing their understanding of emerging trends in child protection. When I got in, I realized there were discussions or some questions on this issue about the cyberspace, the kind of abuse, the kind of things happen there. Those of us who are BBCs, that's born before the computers, who have now learn the computers. We sometimes learn from our children. Sometimes, some simple things, I just, I can't do it. Then I say, I'll call my daughter, this one, that's what she says, which means that she's far advanced. And therefore, that's an environment where our children acquire a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge. So it means that we should pay particular attention to that environment. We are stakeholders, we are duty bearers. What do we do such that our children are not exposed to things that they are not supposed to know at very tender and early ages, but of course which also influences their lives? We need to pay particular attention to that, so that we create that safe environment for our children. Reproductive health, among others, ladies and gentlemen, among adolescents also remains a priority of the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. And to this end, the Ministry has developed and is implementing currently a 5-year strategic plan to address unwanted pregnancies among adolescents with support from the United Nations Fund for Population Activity, or UNFPA. And this plan will help in this implementation, as we're implementing, improve on the knowledge base of adolescents, especially the girl child. Interventions by governments to enhance the educational sector, such as free senior high school and the Ghana School Feeding Program have also resulted in the rise in the number of children being admitted in our various schools. This, however, calls for additional safety measures and the strengthening of existing policies, rules, and regulations which apply to both teachers and the school children. Stakeholders in education should therefore be committed to the implementation of the laws and policies which protects the rights of school children, to provide a safer and a protective learning environment for everyone. As parents and guardians as well, we also ought to pay key attention to the development of our children and wards. I therefore, on behalf of the Honourable Minister, urge all of us present here to reaffirm our commitments in creating an enabling environment and also an effective partnership to promote the development, protection, and the promotion of the rights of the Ghanaian school child. Remember, leave no child behind. As we are working, as we are doing the SDGs, people leave nobody behind as far as poverty is concerned. We in Ghana here, we from the ministry are saying that, remember, leave no child behind. Long live the African child, long live the Ghanaian child. And thank you so much for your attention.
We have a second statement, this time from the Ghana Education Service, a report on the Director of the Guidance and Counseling Unit.
Thank you very much. Good morning again. The Guidance and Counseling Unit of the Ghana Education Service is a well-structured unit with counselors in all our senior high schools, senior high technical schools, some counselors or teachers trained to handle counseling, guidance and counseling issues in the basic schools. We have counselors in all the districts, education offices, and we have counselors in all the regional education offices. Then we come to headquarters. We have about 4 counselors there who monitor activities of all these people. So it's very well structured. We have experts in psychology, in guidance and counseling, and other areas who help our children in school to go through life in school and after. They make sure the children have good relationships at home and in school, their academic work, and then their career choices. These are all handled by the guidance and counseling personnel. Apart from that, we also make sure that our schools are safe. Because after all, if schools are not safe, nothing can go on. Nothing, absolutely nothing can go on. The children will continue getting pregnant. I call them children because my unit is monitoring the activities of the Safe School program in the districts, and it is children, not even teenagers. The pregnancy is as low as 12 years, or even lower, So, we all know that a safe learning environment is one of the fundamental human rights of all children. The UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, CRC, in several articles requires us to ensure that children learn and complete the education cycle in a violence-free environment. However, the persistence of harmful religious and cultural beliefs and practices such as early and forced marriages and societal acceptance of violence against children as part of the learning process, and enforcing discipline continues to make our state schools unsafe for teaching and learning. One of the speakers already said it. It is normal to be caned if you don't know 13 plus 10. Okay? Or if it's 10 the other way around, then you are confused. Then the cane lands on your head. It's normal, but it is not. It is reported that 94% of children 1 to 14 years experience some form of violence in Ghana. 59% of adults 25 years and above think physical punishment is necessary to raise or educate children. This is from Ghana MIC 2017-2018. Again, 34% of children, according to UNICEF/GODC previous 2014, were beaten by a teacher in school. Teachers. I remember mine. Mentor. The Ministry of Education and Ghana Education, in their commitment to protecting children in schools, initiated the Safe Schools program as part of the Child-Friendly Initiative. The Safe Schools program seeks to prevent and respond to all forms of violence and abuses in schools. 3 major violence behaviors are addressed under the Safe School program. These are corporal punishments. Corporal punishment doesn't only mean caning. It means giving the child a knock on the head, slap, pinch, kick. A video that went viral. A strong, tall male teacher was exchanging blows with a female student. I don't know if you've seen it. I don't know whether it's Ghana. I hope it's not Ghana.
It's not Ghana.
It's not Ghana. You've seen it. It's not Ghana. Even if it's not Ghana, it's bad enough. Okay. So, corporal punishment, sexual harassment in the uniform, and bullying. This usually among peers. This bullying includes cyberbullying. In rolling out the Safe School program, the Ghana Education Service consulted with a wide stakeholder community, including academia, child protection practitioners, educators and clergy, traditional authority, teacher unions, and significant others to solicit their input into the package. Through these consultations and engagements, the GES has developed a Safe Schools Resource Pack. I'm sure some will be exhibited this morning, only we cannot give them out yet because we haven't finished distributing to our schools. But as soon as we get sponsors to print more copies for us, we'll flood the country with our resource pack. I promise you that. The GES has developed a Safe School Resource Pack. GES has revised the Teachers' Code of Conduct and Head Teachers Handbook to reflect our Safe School agenda, so it is the Head Teachers Handbook. Trained officers and teachers within the GES and school children have been trained to equip them with skills and knowledge necessary to adopt promotion in a safe school and effective learning environment. The guidance and counseling units over the past 2 years has partnered with the National Cyber Security Center of the Ministry of Communication to sensitize students in selected senior high technical schools on cyberbullying and security concerns. This is a program that is integral to the Safe School architecture of the GES. The GES has also oriented and sensitized personnel from DOPSU, Department of Children, Department of Social Welfare, Department of Community Development, COPS, which is Conference of Heads of Basic Schools, and CHAS, which is Conference of Heads of Assisted Senior High Schools. The Ministry of Education and GES are currently in discussion to develop a policy to guide the implementation of the Safe Schools program. This is to demonstrate our resolve to ensure a zero tolerance for violence in schools. So with the policy, once the policy is rolled out, then we have the law backing us, even though we have many laws backing us already. We believe that teachers and other school staff will have some difficulty in adopting the safe school practices, especially during the initial stages of the introduction of the program. And so we stepped up monitoring visits to schools to support teachers and children in implementing the city's newspaper. Protecting children, ladies and gentlemen, in all settings is a shared responsibility. And for that matter, we at GES will continue to engage with the wider Ghanaian community to ensure that our children are provided with the needed environment within which to learn and to develop. For this reason, the Ghana Teaching Service is working in close collaboration with the Ghanaians Against Child Abuse (GACA) social drive to bring all Ghanaians on board in protecting the Ghanaian child. Let's all help to protect the Ghanaian child. Thank you very much.
So to end the first session of today's program, at PDA we have taken upon ourselves to track child abuse in Ghana. So just to put a little bit of spotlight on our child abuse tracker, we want to invite Raymond. Raymond, where are you? Please help me welcome Raymond to get some spotlight on the child abuse tracker.
My name is Raymond Bodo and I'm with PD. So I wrote here to give an overview of the child abuse tracker that we launched 2017. That was when we began the knowledge sharing workshop. Alright, so basically what we do is with the tracker, we try to we created a platform called Ushahidi, and then the platform allows us to report child abuse cases. And then so we set out that so that to enable us to monitor cases, we want to monitor child abuse cases that are reported in the dailies and then the online platforms. We also try to see what's being done with those cases. Are they just being reported in the dailies or on online platforms without justice being served? So with this in mind, we came up with a platform which will allow people to report cases. We do that in-house as well, and then it's open to the public also to report cases as well. So with the platform, we're able to report and record child abuse cases. We're also able to map the cases that is based on the location where these cases are reported or the cases happen. And then with the platform, you're also able to visualize that. You're able to see the number of cases per each location. Alright, so this is how the platform looks like. So you can see the Ghana map in there with some green and yellow, red dots there. So each dot indicates the cases. So with the case, for example, in some of the, it's a bit blurred, so you'll not be able to see. But when you see where Ghana is, that's close to, I think, Kumasi. There's some huge number there. It means that there are a lot of cases within that locality or that area. So this is how it looks like. So we're able to visualize the case. The plus at the top corner allows people to report cases. Once you click on the plus, you're allowed to report any case. But because it's open to the public, we have ways of verifying that the case you are reporting is legit. So you are supposed to report the article, the source where you are getting the case from, and then also you're supposed to take a picture of the case and then upload it in the form. We will not go into the form now, but that's what is there. So, and when you send a case, it doesn't go straight to the platform. It comes and then we have to review in-house. So we follow up on the case to ensure that what you are reporting is actually accurate and is true, and that's been published in the dailies or the online platform before we share it with the public. So this is more like a closer look at one of the cases. So you see, the cases are all spread out in Ghana. So this within Ghana. So you can have cases in Kumasi, Koforidua, all over. That's how the platform looks like. So far, I think all the cases that are here have been done in-house. We subscribe to the dailies, specific dailies that we use, which you'll see very soon. Yes, so we subscribe to these dailies. We have 5 print media that we use. That's Heritage, Ghanaian Times, Daily Graphic, and then the Mirror as well. And then we have, at least we know that in each region there are radio stations or media houses there. And then these media houses, they have online platforms. So we try as much as possible to get at least one major media house in each region that has an online platform. And then we visit there frequently or on a daily basis to check for cases, and then we try to add it to our tracker. we've not had, so we do that ourselves. We also have phone lines that we've given out, we've put on our website also, allowing people to call in and they report cases. But this has not added anything to the cases you will see soon, because people don't call in to report cases. So but the phone lines are still available and then they are working. Alright, so I think I've already talked about this. Alright, so since we launched the tracker, that's the first annual knowledge sharing workshop, we've recorded a total of 290 cases so far. That's from the limited sources that we have selected, the 5 the online platforms. And then majority of the cases turn out to be sexual abuse. So you have about 215 cases being sexual abuse, as you can see from the pie chart, the greater sector being that of sexual abuse. And then that is followed by physical abuse, where we have about 17% being physical abuse, and then followed by child trafficking, and then child abduction. Initially, we didn't include trafficking in our child abuse cases, but then when we started, we realized that we were having cases of child trafficking frequently in the media, and then we started to add that to it. So that's when we added. We are not saying child abuse is limited to this 4, but then this is where our focus is. Alright, so in terms of regional distribution, we realized that most of the cases have happened in Greater Accra, with 40.3% of the cases being reported here in Accra. And then this is followed by Central Region, and then for Ashanti, Bosa. So in total, we realized that most of the cases are in Accra, and then other regions don't have much cases. And we also know that it's not because there are no issues of child abuse, but maybe because these issues are not reported. And therefore, we, as part of our next steps, we are also working around that to target those regions more and see what we can do to help protect children in the country. All right, so in terms of gender, we realize that most of the time it's the ladies that is the young girls that are sexually abused, and that's about 92% of all sexual abuse cases. The young girls, but then we want to keep an eye on the 8% boys who are also abused, because most of the times we neglect the boys, but that 8%, if we don't watch it, we also become the 92%, and then 92% now becomes the 8%. Alright, so then we have physical abuse. That's where the boys become the major victims, where the 67% of boys the victim identity for young girls. Then when it comes to child trafficking, we realize that young girls are trafficked more compared to their counterpart boys. And then with child abduction too, we have 60% of young boys being abducted, and then 40%. And it's strange how this happens, how people are able to just steal someone and then take ownership of someone without permission or I don't know. Yeah. Alright, so then since we are focusing on protecting the Ghanaian school child, we were also looking at perpetrators of child abuse, and it turns out that community members are the major perpetrators of child abuse, as you can see from the slides. You have about 62% of these cases being perpetrated by community members, and I think it's obvious because we all live in various communities, and then child abuse or whatever happened with child abuse in the communities, we are all responsible for that. We have relatives also being perpetrators of child abuse, where we have about 25%. Religious authorities are not left out in this case. They have about 2%, and then we have peers as well. Then, since we are focusing more on school, we have school authorities having 7% of the perpetrators of being perpetrators of child abuse in the total cases that we've recorded so far. So we just, since we are limited today's knowledge sharing workshop to protecting the Ghanaian school child, we just zoomed in a little into the perpetrators of sexual abuse in school, and we realized that about 89.5% of the cases are perpetrated by school authorities, which have to do with the teachers, the head teachers, and then maybe other staff. And then we have peers also encouraging the Canada of discussing the various issues on child abuse in schools to also factor in that of peers, in as much as we have peers also who are also doing that. We need to look at that as soon as possible to make sure the numbers don't shoot up. And then in all our cases that we identified in school were sexual abuse, we didn't come across anything such as bullying or physical abuse. And this is mainly because these cases are not reported. But for the ones that are reported, you always see maybe a teacher have defiled a 2-year girl or headmaster have done this. Those are the ones that normally comes as headlines. Those are the ones that we've had. But it doesn't mean that bullying and physical abuse are out of schools. Alright, so that's an overview of our child abuse tracker. And then in conclusion, we realized that, like I said, most of the cases have not been reported. These are just some few cases that have been reported. So we need to encourage the breakout people to report child abuse cases. And then we know children are supposed to be our future leaders. And if the prevalence of child abuse keeps increasing, it tells us what the future looks like. So we need to keep an eye on that. And then also, the school and then the homes, which are supposed to be the safe place for children, that's being endangered. So then the question is, where should the children go? So we need to look at that also. In our recommendation, we recommended that children should be sensitized more because they need to voice out some of these things. Children are sometimes scared of their own parents, and they are not able to discuss some of these issues with them. But once we sensitize them, they'll be able to open up and then share these ideas. Like I know, talking about the guidance and counseling feature in schools, students should be able to go there willingly and then share their problems with whoever is in charge. Then we also talk of collaboration. The fight against child abuse is not a one person's job or one stakeholder's role. So we are open to other collaborations and then to ensure that we fight child abuse to the minimum. Yeah, and also like I mentioned earlier, from our observation, we realized that most of the cases were in Accra and we needed to do more by visiting other regions to see why those cases are not being reported. And then to bring my presentation to an end, I would like to say that over the 2-year period, we've not just been collecting data, we try to see how we can make very good use of the data. My focus was to present an overview, but last year we managed to do a study. We selected a few cases that we identified from the tracker, and then we followed up on this to see if justice was being served, how far the cases have gone, what are the role of the law enforcement teams in ensuring that children who are victimized are served or they are given justice. So that's part of a bigger report that will be released soon. So that's all for now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Raymond. What a powerful tool. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for you to participate again. So we have time for comments, contributions, questions, and answers. The first person I will give the opportunity is you. You had something to say earlier, and I was concerned about time, so let's have that first.
All right, thank you very much. Better late than never. I wanted to speak in relation to a question that someone asked about career guidance in private schools. Career service is for every child, irrespective of where you are attending school. So the private schools, if there's a unit or a desk under the basic school, basic education division that takes care of private schools. So what all district directors or directories are mandated to extend their services to both public and private schools. And so guidance and counseling coordinators at the district level, they are the people who coordinate guidance counseling at the district level, the schools in all the districts. And so what happens is that before students select their schools and programs for senior high schools, they zone the district and visit schools in clusters or sections, and then run career guidance programs for them, and including parents. I remember whilst at Lekman, I was identifying bigger churches, and then we sought permission to use those churches, where we brought parents and then also school children, the JHS tools together to provide career guidance. And it includes private schools. But the difficulty is that most private schools close their gates. I mean, I'm using this word, they close their gates to the GS staff. And so when you want to go there and render this program to them, they consider it as not necessary. Because they are looking at doing so well, concentrating on academics, doing so well, and then say that the school presented 30 students, BC, and then all of them got it, and then they are placing their first choice schools. But the difficulty is that they will do the wrong things. Because just this year, placement, a certain student selected Grambay, Ghana National, and then Accra Academy. 3 top schools. So once you meet the first one, that's it, you are lost. You don't get your free choice. And then he was placed in Kaswa, Nasek Kaswa, English are not full. And the mother, Rula, what are your choices? What are your choices? When we do a career guidance, the child school didn't allow people to go there. You know, to make a move. So, to cut the long story short, they visit all schools. Those who open up their gates, the guidance coordinators go there and then run the programs for parents and students. Those who do not, they go in with the ignorance and they make the mistakes. And then on the issue of online safety, my boss said, we have partnered the Ministry of Communication, specifically the National Cyber Security Center. They have a child online protection desk. So 2018 and this year, we have visited over 50 schools, senior high schools, and then done sensitization, awareness creation campaigns for students in these schools. Because now, like Abna represented, it's become a major issue for us. That's one of the areas that our youth are falling prey. And even as adults, I have some friends, wherever they go, they post it on Facebook. And so people know that you are not at home. They want to be socially desirable. And so they are in the Frankfurt airport and they post it. And so those other miscreants who are on Facebook and those, they know that my friend, that guy is not home, and they can't. Okay, you go to the malls and then Saturday you see some girls like there, I'm ready, let's check my upgrade my, they're meeting somebody for the first time. They go and grab them, they go and buy pizza and then fried rice, and then other things for you. So we are doing this so that we're going to protect our youth online so that they become very responsible in the use of the internet. Because the internet also has a lot of good for us. We want our youth to focus more on the good that the internet offers. And then be careful, and it's also to be able to report some of these issues to master the people as not even they come face-to-face with some of these challenges and abuses on the internet space. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, there's a lady down we'll come to the right, and then two here, and then go to the next.
Okay, please, I have a question on the child abuse tracker. I still don't understand how the tracker works. And the information from the presentation, I want to find out if it's strictly from observation and those reporting, because if you can also go to the schools and the communities to find out information yourself, or just on observation and reporting.
Alright, so I think that with the tracker, we want to have a database of child abuse cases. That's how come we develop the tracker in the first place. And then with that data, what can we do with the data? We try to make use of the data. I mentioned that we've conducted a study with the data to follow up on some of the cases to see how far justice have been served, what are the roles of other institutions in ensuring that the young child or the child is being protected. So that's what we do with the tracker. I don't know if there's a question.
Hi. Just to add to what Raymond just said, in terms of the source of data, I think your question is legit in terms of where can't we go to the schools or the communities? Unfortunately, this tracker is not doing that yet. We are currently collecting data on published cases. So those reported cases that find their way into the media. We have contemplated going beyond the media to go to the communities, but there are ethical issues and protection issues that we have not gotten to a point of making it as safe and well enough to protect the children that are involved. And so at the moment, it's only those that find their way into the media that we capture. That already tells a good story, because if you look at all the cases that get their way into the media, they are the catchy ones, the so-called sexy stories that people will be interested in. And then the real stories that affect the majority of children are left behind, and few actually find their way into the media, because it's only those that travel up to the court that are reported. Few scary ones are reported before they get to the court. But those are things on the flash, and it's very difficult to follow to have any proper documentation. So at the moment, the tracker is only tracking what is reported in the media. And I think there are just about 5 newspapers and a few online platforms that are reported. So every day, our team surfs through these platforms and identify those that are reported, and then we track and identify, categorize them, and make sense of them. And these are just up for conversation, so we know what Ghanaians are interested in. The media is interested in reporting. But there are more cases happening across the country than find their way to the media.
Okay, I want to address this to GES. I think you guys have
This one is going to the GES, counseling unit.
Yes, please. We have policies and then trainings for people, but I want to know the implementation mechanisms. In Ghana, we're able to make guidelines, we're able to make the laws, we're able to make policies, we're able to train people. What are the implementation mechanisms put in place to make sure that these people we are training are really doing what we are giving them? So, what implementation mechanisms are being put in place? And this mechanism, this trainings, and all the policies we are being put in place are being adhered to? Thank you.
Thank you very much, PDA and Raymond, for that insightful presentation on the tracker. I want to find out, looking at the chart, it looks like sexual abuse tops the list. Don't you think that the comprehensive sexuality education that Ghanaians are really kicking against comes to play here? Because with this, just last week there was our Washington City News, and then there's this 10-year child who has been found since age 6. So it was when her teacher taught her that, okay, when somebody touches this part of your body, does this to you, it is wrong, then she came to report her parents. And it's a relative that's doing that. So don't you think that it really comes to play, and it's very important? So I think stakeholders should sit and dialogue so that the ignorant Ghanaians who are the majority, who are kicking against it, will stop.
Yes, that's what the gentleman.
One of the things we go on to was Mercedes guidance and counseling. We all know that the foundation for everything is very important. And from the director, I said that paid more attention in the senior high schools. Except for the basic school, she said that it's not all that, but they have people there. It's not what's structured in the basic school. I'm saying this because we work with some schools on the project, back away from delinquency. And we go to Captain North and South and other schools to speak to them. And we realize that most of them do not have guidance counseling. Even if they have, they are not working. They'll tell you that they have, but you ask them, what does she do, what does he do? We don't have it. Even last time we came to number 1 GHS, do the same thing, and we met the head mistress and said that they don't have one, and they have one from and Yawaso, East or the West, that's where the principal is. And she can't tell once and why she's going around all the schools, the municipal, it's only one guidance and counseling teacher. So I think that for the basic school, it's not well established. If it's in the senior high school, it's fine. But that is where it starts from. We have a lot of issues there. So if it's well structured in senior high school, it's not well structured in the basic school, then I think that we have to think, rethink again.
Final person for this week.
Actually, Clement covered part of my question, but it has to do with strengthening the system. I seriously feel that it is needed, and this is also the time, because often when you talk about some issues and it's, some protesters are not comfortable with the numbers that you are bringing out, then they tend to forget of what is actually happening, and the debate is now rather on the numbers. So when I saw the graph, I thought that the regional skew was very heavy to the commercial or urban centers, and I thought that it would have been useful for the limited data that we have to at least say something about why Greater Accra was up there, whether it's because of population, because of economic development, or because all the media houses are sitting in Accra, and so they are reporting only, what was the word? I will use sensational story. But there are serious issues happening in other regions, and because maybe there's the lack of reporters or media houses are not there, nobody picks it up. And everybody would think that the problem is in Accra, but it's actually worse in other areas. So how
can it address yours? So we come to
the fact that we have the cases reported in the cities more and less in the rural areas already is a finding for us. The question now is, what do we do with it? It requires more strategy, but also more resources and more engagement with partners, because we don't want to be the ones in the communities reporting cases. There must be ways of getting the cases up. So all these advocacies of getting people empowered to report cases and getting people to desist from committing those crimes could be, but we need people in the community. The media should be interested, so the media could be a good strategic partner at the regional and district level. But at some point, we also need as many CSOs and other partners as possible to be interested in reporting cases. But I think the bigger problem is not just the reporting, because once you report any case, it means you are putting the child in danger. You are placing the child in the public domain who are going to, the child in the public domain who is going to face a number of criticisms and public, lambasting, as happens in all cases. So we need psychologists to be involved. So I think it's a bigger project that requires every kind of leg. So I think this is just to keep the conversation happening. We will take it from there if people are interested to talk about this, how to get cases reported. The problem, we don't get happy when cases are reported. I think the fewer the cases, the better, because it means people are living healthy. Yeah. But if they are happening, then they should be reported to get state institutions interested. And so we are happy to see the Department of Children, Ghana Education Service, or stakeholders on this platform talking. And then we can take it from there from here.
Probably, we are interested in knowing how many people with disabilities have been abused. Because I've been quiet, monitoring whatever is happening. Issues about disabilities have not been highlighted, and I have not been happy. SDG Goal 4 is talking about inclusion, and there is a policy on inclusive education that says that leave no child behind. Every child must get access to education and ensuring full participation of sex learners, irrespective of gender, race, disability, whatever. So please, next time, I'm hoping to see issues of disabilities in all that we do. Thank you.
But in our hearts, we know that comprehensive sexuality education must be taught the children. We don't teach homosexuality. We don't teach the child to decide his or her own sexuality, to decide that I'm a boy. God made a mistake, so the doctor should make me a girl. No, we don't have any of that. I don't know where that thing is coming from, but now the lid has been put on it. But the advice I'll give parents from the perspective of a counselor is that let's take our children's future, our children's destiny into our own hands. You know that you should let the child know that there is penis, there is vagina, there is anus. And you should let the child know what it means when somebody touches you in a certain way. It's not only the girls. The boys too are being sexually harassed. When a boy goes to school, especially a boy, so I'm not saying they do it too, and then a senior is playing with him in a certain way, the parent must already have prepared the mind of the child that the senior should not touch you in a certain way, even though you are a boy, he's a boy. Because by the time he finishes touching, by the time you are aware, something has penetrated somewhere, which is not normal. The same with the girls. You should know the mother should not tell the girl this vagina is called bowfoot. Somebody eat the bowfoot. The real names, and tell the child your body is yours. There are certain things which are not acceptable. So for the meantime, GES has put the lead on CSC. We don't know what will happen, but we hope that the best comes out of it. Thank you.
Thank you. So we now have two comments from this side, and then we move here. Yes, madam.
Yes.
Yes. After you.
Thank you very much. And just to also remind ourselves that from yesterday to the 10th of December is the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. And so all of us should join the advocacy to protect and to do away with all forms of gender-based violence in our Ghanaian community. Also, the question about guidance and counsel at the basic school level. Guidance and counsel is preventive, is comprehensive, and developmental. And so developmental, we are saying that we tailor the guidance and counsel that we do to the needs or the specific need of the individual. So yes, it is for this reason that in 1982 we also introduced guidance counsel at the basic education level. And it was mandated that every teacher, and I'm sure my colleague here has somebody appointed to that position in his school. And so because per our training, every teacher takes a course or two at the training college or the university in guidance and counsel. So we believe that when teachers are appointed to that role, they will be able to provide the first aid in guidance and counseling at the school level. And then when it becomes very necessary, then the municipal or district coordinator comes in to support. It's unfortunate that, yes, as you rightly said, some of our school-based coordinators are not proactive. And we know the evidence that we have from our monitoring basis. And when that happens, we encourage headmasters to change those people and appoint people who have passion for children. Because some of these ways don't come with financial benefits, but the passion to see a certain girl or boy progress through education and one day mention them that you are the one who supported your head to finish school. It's what drives some of us to do that this kind of way. So yes, we recommend that teachers who have been appointed to those positions and are not performing should be changed, and then more serious ones still have to do the appointment. Yes. But somebody has a question about implementation, and I would be glad, of policy now, I would be glad if that question is put again, because I didn't get you very well. Yes.
Yes, sir. In fact, we have a panel. Please, thank you. We have a panel discussion session, and in that session, we are going to put a lot of questions. So please just hold that question. We are really running out of time, so I want to give a chance to this lady to ask a question, and I come to this session, and then we'll have to move for snacking.
All right. From Saber Education, we work with schools, and then we train KG teachers. And one of the things we do is to not to respond to abuse, but to prevent it by training them in the positive way of managing children's behavior. From the data Raymond shared, I realized there were more reports on sexual abuse. And I know from the address from the Ministry of Gender and then the guidance and counseling, they talked about the corporal punishment, pension, kneeling, cane and all that. I want to find out from GS, at what point do we need to report cases of corporal punishment? Because I'm feeling we see it as normal and therefore we don't need to report as an abuse. So I want to know at what point.
We'll get one from the gentleman here and then GS will close our session for us.
I'm from Jalain Heights and my question is a follow-up to the Dean's question. There's a directive that there should be no cane in school, but when you get to the community in schools, the teachers are confused. Yes, because they say there should be no cane, but we don't know what to do. So what is GES doing to give them alternatives? I know CSOs like Salary and other organizations are helping, but I think it's not enough. So what is GES doing to take that contribution?
Yes, please be brief, but over to you.
One of the major things that we have done in our day school program is to, in fact, the first that we to come up with what is another positive listening toolkits, that gives teachers positive and better alternatives to correcting children instead of the use of harsh punishment. And then to also inform you that when you have a school in Winneba that does not use corporal punishment. There's a Methodist school around the office towards the yes. They went there and then some of the tests that we got from children and teachers was quite revealing. We even wanted to do that as a documentary to come up very soon. So some schools are practicing the positive listening tools and it's really helping promoting positive interaction with teachers and the learners. But like you said, I was saying earlier, it's something that's very new. Okay, and so some teachers are struggling to accept the fact that they have to put aside the cane and the other forms, harsh forms of correcting to adopt the new ones. And we will continue to prompt them as they adopt these ones going forward. Yeah.
Thank you, yes. Tony wants to make a comment on this.
I think again, the challenge we have is that I think there was a study that did and said like 34% of Ghanaians still think. Yeah. Okay, so there is some problem where the home thinks the child should be beaten. Yeah. Okay, then you are saying the school shouldn't. You know, so I think there is so we need to continue the education. We need to let people know that there are ways you can correct a child. I'm having that debate even with my colleagues. Okay, so it's an ingrained issue, cultural issue that we all need to fight. It's not only the school. I keep saying that school is a partnership between the home and the school, or education is a partnership between the home and the school. Often we leave everything to the school. You know, some people say, I'll take you to the teacher to beat you. Okay, yes. So we need to change that. And then the same thing with the CSE. You know, I've always argued from the time of HIV/AIDS. As if I think it's still on. That parents must be equipped on educating their children on a culturally sensitive issue like sex. Okay, I went and said it somewhere, and then my friends even jobbed on me over the weekend. You know, I said I went and said somewhere that I've been saved by God and condom. Okay, you know, we should be able to talk about these things openly. Because if not for condom, I'm sure I'd have had more children before I married. So let's be able to talk about these things openly and frankly. Okay, so that's all.
Thank you very much. I just have to add my experience. I'm an example. I remember when I moved from class 6 and I was going to a new school, my dad, over a long back, my dad said to me, "You are a big girl. I've been talking about sex and all these things, but I want to let you know that now that you are going to junior high school, boys are going to tell you a lot of lies. They'll come to you and tell you if you don't have sex, you will become like Jimmy, you will be this, you will be that. It's all lies." Then I went to school. First week of school, some boy came to me. "Have you had sex?" I said to him, "Hey, if you don't have sex, you become Jimmy." I said, "You're a liar. You're a liar. My father told me you would tell me that." I was so excited. When I came from work, I said, "Daddy, exactly what you told me." Some boy came to tell me
perfect.
So the topic is, when you talk to your child, sometimes the words you say, some foolish girl will go and say those things when your child will listen.
What comes up next is a panel discussion, after which we go for lunch. We return for a short documentary, then we move on to the marketplace. For this panel discussion, a lot has been said in the beginning, particularly the presentations from the Ghana Education Service, Girls Education Unit, as well as the Guidance and Counseling Units, particularly on the Safe Schools project, re-enrollment, and so many other issues that border on child protection. Unfortunately, time didn't allow for us to dig deep enough on some of those issues, so we are hoping that this panel discussion will give us that opportunity. I have good representation from across board, both government and the private sector, and I'm hoping that with the help of the participants as well, we can be able to unpack some of these issues properly, help us understand many of the issues that have been shrouded with so much controversy here and there. And at the end, we can agree on some things that will hopefully serve as action points for us to follow up on at the end of this event. So ladies and gentlemen, I'd like you to help me welcome on board Mr. Eric Opoku Bamfo. He's the head teacher at the Dodowa Newtown Basic B. Next on my list is Mr. Roland Techi. He works with the Guidance and Counseling Unit at the Ghana Education Service. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together. Next on my list is Mrs. Dorothy Gray. She's an educationist with decades of experience and a former education policy advisor for Action Aid Ghana. Please put your hands together for her. And last but not the least on my list is the Research, Evaluation and Learning Manager at VEA with years of experience researching education policy and rolling out projects for child protection across the country. Please put your hands together for Mr. Clemens Ebenau. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me off stage here, and I hope we're able to have an insightful and fruitful discussion. Just to give a background to the conversation, I want to start with Mr. Roland Techi. If you can just rehash some, as you already started touching on some of those things earlier, like the Safe Schools policy. Basically, give us an overview of the policies and the program that over the years the government has tried to put in place to ensure the safety and protection of children in schools.
Thank you, Zion. The conversation around protecting children in schools is the right thing. Ghana, as a country, is touted as the first country in the world to ratify the Convention on the Right of the Child. And the Convention on the Right of the Child seeks to protect children and to recognize them as right holders, and that everything, all state parties must ensure that children enjoy their full rights. And so, following from that, government and the government have done all they can to ensure that children enjoy their rights, including the right to education and health. Lately, in 2015, we also had the Sustainable Development Goals. That also has as one of the major goals the goal 4 on inclusive, equitable, quality education and all of that. Again, 16.2 talks about protecting children. And so, Ghana as a country, we didn't have any option but to ensure that our children are provided with a safe, protective, and secure environment within which to learn and to grow. Studies that have been done in the past, and as recent as the one that Ghana government and UNICEF conducted in 2013 and 14, revealed that there was quite a high levels of harshness in our schools. And because of this, it kept a lot of children out of school. And then, let me just go back a bit. In 2000, ministers of education in the whole world met. they look at the education for all protocols. And we said that by 2015, every child of school with age should be in school. And what are some of the things that we will do to ensure that our children are in school? Looking at our school environment, looking at what are the laws and policies that will protect the children. In doing so, the government of Ghana indicated that what initiated a lot of intervention programs, free school bus, free capitation grant, free food, because parents were keeping their children at home because of some of these reasons that they didn't have money for their children to go to school. So government said, okay, then there's no feast because so capitation grant came, no money, no food, so school feeding and all of that. So in spite of all these, the good things that government was doing, we also realized that we still had some children who were still not going to school. And it was because of the harshness that we had. And so the Ministry of Education, the GES, mindful of the need to be able to ensure that children of school-going children are in school, initiated the Safe Schools program to rid our schools of all the violence behaviors that we had. And as been alluded to earlier, the Child Protection Baseline Survey that was conducted in 2014 revealed that corporal punishment, sexual harassment, and bullying were rife in our schools. And so there was a need to step up action to rid our schools of all of these. And so in 2013, I remember, there was a national gathering here in Accra to solicit the views of a wider stakeholder group as to what can be done to ensure that our schools are safe. Okay, so in fact, at that meeting, corporal punishment was opened up, and all the ills that corporal punishment sought to do to our children was discussed. And so immediately what the GS decided to do was to come up with positive alternatives to the use of corporal punishment, because what the teachers said was that they didn't have any idea about the alternatives to correcting children than the use of the cane. And which some of us felt that it was quite unfortunate, because in educational psychology, teachers have taught behavioral modification strategies, and caning was number one of the behavioral modification strategies that were taught teachers when they were in school. So yes, the service design came up to the positive discipline tools. But even before that, the head teacher's handbook, the manual for the administration and management of schools, had been revised, because there was an earlier version that recognized the use of corporal punishment as one of the measures for correcting or sanctions for correcting children's misbehavior. But in the new one, which came out in 2010, all those issues have been expanded. And indeed, if you look at page 42 of that document, it says that any illegal act of punishment on the child is an act for which the teacher can be prosecuted in the court of law. So, and in fact, we want to say that based on that bullet point in the HTS handbook, a teacher, let's just say, a teacher was fined in the court of law in Ghana 53,000 cedis. 50,000 is going to the parents and 3,000 is going to government, because a teacher in a private school killed a child. And then they say that what is an illegality, illegal punishment of a child? The new book, new document, in the new HTS handbook, we have Appendix 2, which prescribes the sanctions that must be meted out to a child when he or she goes wrong. And that has them in various levels: first offense, second offense, and third offense. And in none of them, there is no caning. So if you met as caning onto a child, then you have perpetrated an illegality. And that's where the services that you can be prosecuted in the court of law. And so the child was prosecuted on the court of law. And following, apart from that, we have also revised the code of conduct for teachers that now seeks to protect children seriously and massively in our school system. That document was just opened up about 3 months ago in a brief, with all the teacher unions being there, because it was very strategic that we brought the teacher unions on board, because they are the people who always run to the defense of teachers when they go wrong. And so what we can say is that the Ministry of Education and GS is very mindful about the need to ensure that our children are protected so that they can realize their God-given talents. and so that they can take over from us. Because I always say that I want somebody to take over from me when I retire from the GS, so that I will have another teacher that will also stand and say that I want to be able to protect children and make ensure that children grow and develop and learn in a way that is nurturing and then protected.
Just a quick follow-up. So far, since the rollout of the Safe Schools project, what are some of the milestones you're seeing? Are you seeing any changes in the system? Because specifically why I'm asking this is that we ran a study I think last year on child protection in schools specifically. We focused on the greater Accra region alone, and it revealed 100% of the schools that we sampled and we spoke to, the teachers and the head teachers, still use corporal punishment.
Habits die hard. But one of the things that we can see is one of our greatest achievements is the fact that now children have been empowered with knowledge. Last year, a primary 3 people who was killed in the school in Kumasi ran to the police station to go and report the teacher. And the teacher was called to the police station. In fact, 2 political assistants were made to go and bring the guy to the police station. And the guy was shaking like, and this happened in Kumasi, Bremen, UGC. Yes, primary 3 people. She went to the police station and reported that teachers are supposed to beat us, and my teacher has beaten me, so she was reported. This is where we want to get to. That children are empowered to demand their rights. Okay, yes.
We are like people to come in here and let us understand the situation on the ground itself. You are touched on the Safe Schools policy and then move around so far as corporal punishment and all those other issues that you raised up.
Yes, practically, the abolition of the corporal punishment is yielding some results, but it's not total. We have to be frank, it's not total, because we have some teachers who are dogmatic to the fact that the caning is the best solution to correcting the child, and they stick to that. But because of the policy, they are very cautious, and you see them holding the cane around, but you threaten the children, but they don't actually use it. Yes, so practically, it is yielding results, but there's more work to be done. There's more work to be done so that we eliminate it totally. That is what I can say on the corporal punishment.
Okay, but when you say more work can be done, I mean, in your opinion, given your experience, you work with the teachers a lot more. What are some of the things that you can recommend?
Yes, we are the operational managers, if I can put it that way. So we have suggested, even our books tells us a lot of alternative measures that can be employed in order to, as it were, correct the child. For instance, giving the child additional work to do in terms of academics, in terms of maybe writing of notes, etc. You can even hang a tag on the child. I will not talk in class. The child will feel uncomfortable. Next time, you will not talk in class. You can change the sitting position of the child. You can advise the child. It is not always about caning. You see, some teachers come to school, excuse me to say, with some frustration from the house, and when they hold the cane, they use all their energy as if they are cutting their opponents, and they exert all their energy, inflicting wounds on the child, which is an unfortunate situation. So we are trying our best to diffuse that kind of agenda that teachers hold in terms of correcting the child.
Just to follow, I mean, anybody is free to react to that particular question. So the Justice for Children's policy tasks the Ministry of Education and then as well as the Ghana Education Service to incorporate child rights and justice for children issues in the teacher training curriculum. And then you speak about how teachers themselves see corporal punishment as the only way to ensure behavioral change in students. I'm wondering how the the inculcation of these child rights and justice issues within the curriculum would reflect some of these things. Because, for example, if it's not in the alternative forms of punishment and so on and so forth, they will definitely not reflect in the way the teachers relate to the students. So I don't know if either you or Mr. Aditi can react to that before I bring it together.
Sure. So in the process of enrolling at the Safe School program, we had a lot of consultations and engagements. And one of the constituents that we engaged is the academia, specifically lecturers from People's University and then the University of Education, Winneba. And fortunately, we had one of our participants from the University of Education, Winneba, who happened to be part of the committee that was reviewing the college of education curriculum. And so all the things that we're doing around the development of the Sales School Resource Park were incorporated into the new college of education curriculum. And so it's going to form part of the pre-service training that the curriculum of the pre-service training that they receive before they join the service. And then, so that's about it. And then also those of us in the service, we engage in continuous in-service training, building the capacity of teachers. Because one of the things that have always come up is the capacity gap, okay, of teachers on the other alternatives. And that it's not only about corporal punishment. The schools program is just about corporal punishment, but it's also about bullying and it's also about sexual harassment. But these are also big issues that are eating up a lot of girls and students in our schools. And so it's a complete package.
Besides awareness creation, so far the two issues you mentioned that concern, that's bullying and then the sexual harassment. Besides the awareness creation, what else is the Safe Schools project doing to address that?
We are building the capacity of teachers, education officers, traditional authorities, the clergy, and then school children. School children form a very big, the integral part of the agenda, because if the children are not schooled on their rights, their responsibilities and expectations, then we can have a lot of problems. So it's a three-pronged approach. As we're engaging parents and the community members, engaging teachers, we also need to engage with school children. And so the resource part that we have developed, we have one major document, and it's the most voluminous, but the language is very, very child-friendly. And that is known as the peer-to-peer manual. That is meant for the school children to help them in their club sessions and then classroom engagement to learn also the responsible attitudes and behaviors in school. That will take them away from some of these actions that other constraints in the school.
How about coping mechanisms for students who are bullied or those who are sexually abused?
Yeah, thank you very much. So the Safe School program seeks to prevent and respond to issues of violence in our school. And then in the response package, we have counseling and other referral systems in there. So depending on the gravity of the issue, or then the school counselor or somebody from outside so we have a lot of collaborations. And we are working together with the Department of Children. We have the intersectorial, we have developed the intersectorial case management pathways, where we have a network of child protection practitioners who work together to be able to protect the child. And then when they are abused or their rights are violated, we put the whole set of support around them to make sure that they are well catered for.
Okay, I'll bring Mrs. Kulin. I'll be back to you in a bit. I just want, as an educationist, I think with your years of experience, do you have any thoughts on the issues that she has raised so far?
Thank you. On the issue of corporal punishment, I think it is something that needs to be really broadcasted outside the school. How do we get it to when at home the child is beaten into order, and the child comes to school and you try to use your mouth to do it doesn't work. I'm not afraid of you. You can't do anything to me, so I won't do what you want me to do. So we need to get sensitized as a people. Otherwise, teachers will suffer for nothing. Yeah. We had a program, and the children told us, in fact, it was very sad because we had some of the children, you know the way we do things, mentored schools, got them to write a paper to present to the minister saying that caning should be stopped in school, all forms of harsh punishments should stop in school. The thing was read, and then there was this open session. Any child who came up said, we prefer caning to. Why? And the reasons were very heart-rending. you have a child, a girl who say, I prefer the teacher beats me than gets me to his house. Everybody, parents, the children themselves, and the teachers, to agree on how to go about it. We should be looking at that.
I mean, just a few things. I think the GES has very good policies in terms of policies on protecting children in school, policies on making the school girl-friendly, child-friendly. And when I hear Roland articulate some of the new issues of making the schools child-friendly, I'm amazed and I'm happy. It looks like the policymakers are thinking about the children as it should. The problem is when you get to the school itself, whether you are going to find the policies being implemented. You know, there are examples. I know I've been in some schools where there were some handbooks that were supposed to be for children about reproductive health and girls how to basic things, maybe around sexuality, you know, and you find some of the books in the head teacher's office, and then you ask him, so why don't the children have this? He said, well, they were in the library, but I brought them back to my office. Why are they in your office? It's like some of the pictures in there are too explicit for the children, so I'm just keeping them. And you are wondering, why will the TES or whoever take such good initiatives and still not follow up to be sure that these books are not kept in the head teacher's office? Even if they're in the library, the better, but the books are supposed to be given out to the kids. You have, I mean, you go to some schools and schools are usually supposed to have changing rooms for girls so that in their times of need, they can have access. And you go to some schools, they either don't have it, or even where they have, the changing room is the inner room of the head teacher's office. And so you wonder how, and this is real, I'm not making it up, and you wonder how the girl who wants to change herself can go to the head teacher's office to the changing room. And you are wondering why is this happening, and yet you have, I mean, the DS schools have at the district level monitoring system to make sure these work. You have, I mean, I can give so many examples, and some of them will wow you. The point is that the policies are good and kudos, but then what?
All right, I'll just bring in the operational manager here to touch the issue that you raised.
Yes, it's sometimes a difficult situation. Sometimes it's lack of infrastructure. For instance, my school, for instance, we have a new KVIP with a changing room. So if children want to change at that time of the month, they are free to do so. Understand? But sometimes teachers have to improvise. But I want to say this one strongly, that it's hard time we exposed ourselves. You see, we know the perpetrators of all this ill in our schools. We know the teachers who are harassing school children, and we know them. But we are not able to expose them. That is the problem. But if we are all able to expose that teacher A has been sleeping with, and so on and so forth, then this kind of menace will kill. We should be able to be bold enough as educational leaders to expose our colleagues who are, because we know them, who are involved in this kind of things. Yes, that's the point.
Unfortunately, in the school, maybe the staff may expose whoever is causing such a problem. But we have also realized that the community members themselves will cover a teacher like that. It's like, Auntie Yabai, any teacher waha. No, shut up. If you talk and they move the teacher, because of you, this is something else, all the children in the school now have a teacher. How do we handle that? When a teacher has to be punished, how do we do it such that the community will not take, will not rise up against the child and even the whole family? It's something that we need to look at. There are a lot of questions. I keep saying that something we need to look at because I don't have answers, but I want to bring up the things in the ground for all of us to look at how we can handle it.
Thank you. It's all about leadership. It's all about leadership. And so, as my brother alluded to, policy-wise, programs from the top, fantastic. But when it gets to my brother's level, some of his colleagues, and then headquarters cannot be in every school at every time. That is why the structure is diffused down at the dugouts, the school level. So head teachers, second supervisors, the sales officers are supposed to help us in these areas. Like you rightly said, even the head teacher's handbook, the operational manual for administering and managing the schools, you go to some of his friends' office, he haven't opened those books before. They will tell you, we don't have it, and then you open their cupboards, it is there. We went to Asasewa, Apamanyako. The materials that have been developed for school children, they were usually packed in the boxes in the head office. But then why are they here? They will destroy them. I said, wow. Please keep them out. Let them destroy them. Government will provide new ones. Because if they don't transfer the books, how will they know the content and be able to, do the needful? So it's all about leadership. He is proactive, but his friends in that school, in that same district, are not, and they are letting us down. So there's a gang of 4: girls' education, guidance and counseling, special education, and school health. They are the pillars of which the quality education starts. And so now we are beginning among ourselves, we are looking at how can we be more effective at the school level so that our children can have access and then the participation. Because it's just not about opening the school doors for the children to go, but how to participate in whatever happens so that they can grow and develop successfully. So we are beginning to take a look at what is it that we can do to become very, very effective. And so we believe that going forward, we are going to be effective at the school level. And like Madam said, we need the society to support us. When we are saying that the schools are not killing, and teachers are saying that we are not killing, chiefs and community members are saying, beat them because you are bringing morality down. And the whole minister of state, minister of the gospel can go on radio and say that the GS is promoting moral decadence because we are taking away kings.
Mr. Poka, I just want to bring you back in very quickly. Now, with regards to the challenges of implementing some of these government initiatives, 3 stand out so far. One is infrastructure, the second one is the school authorities themselves who obstruct the process, and the third one is the reactions of community members and so on. Now, are there any other challenges that you identify in your position that you think that it's important for us to address?
Yes, I will look at the way forward. I think that community, parents, teachers, and other stakeholders, we are all partners in the development of the child. And it is our time we sensitize the community and the parents alike through the PTA about that partnership. Because the protection of the child is a collective responsibility. It cannot be one-man show like the school. So we all must be up to the task in making sure that the child is protected, the environment is congenial for learning to take place. That is the fact, yes. So all stakeholders, especially the community, the relationship between the school and the community must be very cordial, must be very friendly. We must see ourselves as partners in the development of the child, and that is the way to go.
Okay, so on the issue of partnerships, I just want to bring in Mrs. Kunedi over here. Now, there are quite a number of private organizations here, and most of them are working with 1 or 2 government organizations on different projects. Specifically on child protection in schools, how do you think that the government can work, or what role do you think the private sector can play, and how do you think the government can work together with the private sector to ensure the protection of children, given the challenges that we've discussed so far?
Yeah, government should take control and be responsible for its duties to the child of the country. Whatever the child deserves or is entitled to should be something that government provides. Everything else that comes in from NGOs, CSOs, FBOs, any private sector, is only a support, should actually be a support to what government is doing. Yes, nobody can come in and say, I'm going to do this because that is what I want to do. You work within what government wants to do, which means it's government's responsibility. Now, it looks like very often, government sort of, since these people are there, you just relax. All that CSOs do or NGOs do is to do a lot of sensitization, go to communities, those areas where government officials will not go. NGOs will go and do the education, sensitize them. We go to communities where some of those far away, Kong, Volta region, inside, just come behind, no, behind KJP, really serious communities, to educate them on positive discipline, to educate them on the rights of the child. But at the same time, what we do is to add that the children and everybody else, once you have rights, you have responsibilities. So we do that side by side, and we expect governments and government agencies and government officials to provide the support, go there and tell them that, yes, these people have done this, that is what we want to do. They are supporting us, we are supporting them. But very often we go and do something, maybe build even a school block for children who are in very dilapidated structures, and somebody wants to use that as his political campaign tool. Let people know that others, NGOs and so on, are supporting, so that when they are looking at what government can do, they can say that actually it is true, government cannot do everything. Then they will not expect too much from government, and then the things that they can do to support themselves, they will do. But if everything is coming from government, why not, somebody, I was listening to something, somebody at McCarthy Hill, there have been some erosion, some flooding, and a pressman went there, was talking to them, and the man said, so if government can come and plant some trees here, your house is, the foundation is eroding, and you are waiting for government to, when you go to forestry, such trees, the seedlings are free. Well, collect them and go and plant. But it's all because we make people think that everything is done by government. So NGOs and all these other organizations only come in to work within the government framework in support of government, in support of the people, because we think that government, putting everything in the hands of government is too much. So let the government officials, if they are here, acknowledge the support they receive, so that people will know that they need to do things for themselves.
Kevin, your thoughts? I mean, you are in the private sector now.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree with her in terms of what the private sector can do and the level of acknowledgement that should be given. I think, though, that the private sector has been involved in particular areas for some time now, and that space could be expanded to complement government efforts in ways that are more sustainable. I do know, for instance, that the school level management system is put up to help head teachers at the school level to be able to manage the school well, to exert some accountability and transparency in schools, and to keep parents interested in the school governance. Unfortunately, the private sector at the community level doesn't seem to push that agenda much. But there's a lot of research that suggests that if community members contribute to the governance of the schools, there could be some increase in the quality of education, because teachers will be accountable, head teachers will be accountable. Those are areas that also require some attention.
Not to cut you, with the issue of community involvement in things, the NGOs have played quite a role in mobilizing. But the role they play is a double-edged sword. Part of the sword has been effective in mobilizing the communities, but the other part has led them to be dependent on NGO money to the extent that without those NGOs, they themselves don't want to mobilize collectively and engage in certain actions. I mean, how would you address that issues, and how do you think the NGOs can address to balance that concept?
Well, I think that's also the challenge with funding, right? If projects are, and if implementation are projectized and every aspect of it is dependent on money, then even if it's effective, it's going to be effective for a while. It's not going to traverse the span of time. And so I think that's where the collaboration becomes very important. The NGOs, the civil society can do their part, but it must be leveraged on existing governance institutions and resources that are already available. So if an NGO is interested in mobilizing school management committees, they can only go so much as building capacities of district level education officers, SMC members, but it's incumbent on, and that's where implementation can be incumbent on the Ghana Education Service and the district stakeholders to make sure that the secondary supervisors and other officers are leveraging on what they have to make sure these are sustainable. Otherwise, then project ends with the end of funding, which is a bigger problem that needs to be addressed as well.
I want to throw in a question so that after a reaction, you react as well.
Just a quick one. My superiors are here, I have to be careful, but I still want to say that sometimes I feel the government is assuming a posture of an ombudsman who is ready to provide everything. Yes, because now the contribution that even parents are willing to offer, the government has a position on it which is not so clear. You understand? The PTA is doing a lot for schools, that is a fact. Yeah. But now we are all confused because you don't know whether to go for PTA money or not, etc., because the position is not so clear. If you want to be candid to the issues, the positions are not too clear as to what the schools are supposed to do. So, if the government has given a position like that, the NGOs are doing fantastic. That one is a fact. But the parents are willing to support government in executing some of the agenda.
So is your suggestion that government should shrink its role?
It should be clear, especially on PTA, it should be very clear that PTA levies is a normal thing from Adam.
I think that's also, I absolutely agree with you in terms of the conflicting messages that government sends. All across the world, where there's community involvement in education in terms of raising funds and contributing their time to education at the community level, there's high level of learning outcomes because parents are interested, they want to contribute. Unfortunately, it looks like there are policies that suggest that schools cannot levy parents, or even if they would, it should be very minimal up to a certain point. And of course, that also compounds the problem because then parents feel detached from the education system, but they should actually be critical stakeholders even more than government. So maybe if Mr. Roland and his team can not clarify, because I think it's already clarified enough that parents shouldn't contribute, but parents should really be critical stakeholders at the community level and the school level.
I'll give you an opportunity to react to some of these issues. I want to move quickly to digital rights and internet safety. I mean, in your earlier submission, you made mention of a partnership between GS and the Ministry of Communication and the Cybersecurity Desk about the sensitization and awareness creation and so on and so forth. But this question specifically, I want Mr. Opoku to address it. I'm trying to understand what happens on the ground in the absence of any child online protection policy, or, I mean, I'm aware that government has engaged some stakeholders, there's a framework that they're trying to develop and things like that, but it's not, it's actually put out there for both the government and the private sector to follow. What's happening in the schools so far as data rights and internet safety is concerned? I mean, look, students come to schools with their mobile phones and we are all aware of some of these things. We are aware of the revenge plans that happens between some of these students and all of that. What steps do you take in the absence of these national frameworks to address protections so far as the internet is concerned?
So far as the internet is concerned, I want to state emphatically that in the basic school, mobile phones are not allowed. That is a no.
That's a law in place, but we all know that people still smoking phones in
No, in our schools, no. I would say no. It's a big, big no. In our schools, I know, well, I can't talk for the secondary schools, but in the basic schools, there's an association, the COPS, Conference of Heads of Basic School. I'm the chairman for Shai Osodoko District. And we do a lot of communication amongst ourselves. We do a lot of sensitization. We do a lot of CPD, etc. Mobile phones are not allowed in the school. That one is a fact. In the basic school, mobile phones are not allowed.
I mean, granted that these mobile phones are not allowed, even if they use the mobile phones at home, you still have a responsibility to some extent to guide them as to how to use these mobile phones, not only for purposes of research, but also for entertainment and so on and so forth. So how do you address such things?
Yes. That is a fact. You know, the children are very smart. The things they know on the mobile phone, we are not abreast with those kind of things. And sometimes even teachers want to go and get some information, etc. So we have to guide them right on the positive use of the internet to do research. You can even Google your homework on the internet and you are good to go, etc. Right now, the new curriculum emphasizes on the digital fluency. Digital fluency means that school child must be able to use the internet and computer, etc. very fluently. So it is encouraged. Right now, if you see a teacher holding a mobile phone in the class, you can't query because it presupposes that the teacher is using the mobile phone to address a particular issue. So we're encouraging the children to use their mobile phone positively, not to go to places that we cannot mention.
Any reactions to these? And also you can address the concern. So how do you engage parents in terms of how they can guide their children's use of mobile phones and internet usage? Not just mobile phones, but any electronic devices that have access to internet.
The use of the internet is emerging or has come to stay. It has emerged. And whether we like it or yes, whether they are using it in the school or not, they are using it. Last year, Star FM did some 1 week program on the sex education. So every week, every day they had a different group. And one of the days it was school children, 13, 14, and 15. I was driving to the office and then I was listening to these children. The host asked them where did they get information about sex education. One of them said, our teachers. But what one of them said that was very interesting was, oh, our teachers, they are shy. So we don't talk about it. As for our parents, they are not there at all. So me, where I go is Google. As for Google, whatever you ask him, he will tell you. And our parents don't know anything. I'm like, wow. So when we had that opportunity to work with the Ministry of Communication on the safer use of the internet, I was glad.
So I mean, if I get you clearly, the failure of some parents to address the issues makes children seek for some who's access to the internet takes time.
But you see, working with the Ministry of Communication for the past 2 years has taught me a lot. Even the reliability of the source of the information that is on the internet. Some websites, some people duplicate other websites. And so when you say that you are in the right website, you're actually on the wrong website and you are picking wrong information. How do we tell the children that this site is an authentic site and that site is not authentic? Okay, how are we going to teach our children to be responsible, either as users, so that they don't bully other people, or that themselves are not bullied? You understand? So this is a big time conversation. And like I said during the first session, even as adults, how well are we informed about the use of the internet? On social media, somebody gives birth, 2-year-old, 1 month old, and then the baby is on the internet. That is DP and status. On our privacy settings, how much of our time are we giving out there? I will not expose ourselves so much. So yes, this conversation is very important for parents, for teachers. There's some teachers, like you said, school children are teaching children the use of the internet. My son, mean, whenever I get stuck, I call him. And on the phone, he will direct me. Okay? So it's about time that all of us will begin to learn all the fundamentals, all the good things about the internet, and then teach to our children. Otherwise, we will lose them to miscreants.
This is going to be your thoughts on the internet safety. Yeah.
I actually think we should be vigilant. Parenting, teaching, look out for what the child is looking at. If you are a parent at home, maybe you have a computer there. How often do you pretend you are passing by to sort of peep at what the child is looking at? On the phone, what have you told the child? You know, we have come to realize that apart from duplicating sites, some people are just cantankerous. They actually put bad things on the net. Someone will tell them that, hey, if you chew 2 leaves from the baobab tree, that is, you won't die, you will never die. Meanwhile, the thing is poisonous. It is intentional ceremony, which is something that so we should make them aware. Teachers and parents alike, make the children aware that Google will tell you things, but it's not everything Google tells you that is true, that you should take. And we should watch out for what they are watching. We should monitor what they are reading, much as, just like the books they read. What is your child reading? What is your child watching? On paper and on the net. We need to monitor. I think that's all that we have.
Thank you very much. At this point, I want to bring in the participants. If you have any questions, thoughts, or contributions on any of the issues that we've raised so far, from the Safe Schools project, just that. Okay. I'll start from the back. So I'll take a number of questions, contributions, then we have the panelists react to them. Okay.
The school children, we have many schools. And so, maybe you have to bring one city to the teacher for study fee or something. And I know there's a case we handled last week where a child didn't want to go back to school because the guardian did not said, I'm going to teach you at home because you need help. I don't have to pay the 1 city, you don't have to do any extra class in the school. So the guardian followed up and found out from the head teacher. And because of the status, the head teacher said, oh, it's optional. So she decided to close the school, come home, and teach you. Now, because she was not paying, the teacher started victimizing her. There was a day she said, because she didn't bring everybody, she said, all those who didn't bring their ones come forward. And none of you is going for break, first break, second break. So other kids, there are other kids who said to her, this child decided to stay in class. She didn't go. She was made to kneel the whole day to do her class work. Because of that 1 city that the guardian said she was not going to pay. Now, even to the extent that she didn't want her to partake of the school lunch. And so it was getting to decide to go to the school. So we marched to the school to see the headmistress about the issue. Well, I said it's optional. So we said, no, we wanted to meet the teacher and have a talk. But she refused. She says, she gets in trouble, if you take this thing out, it's going to affect me. So she tried to plead with us and everything. And so the result of that, okay, she was going to change the child's class. And she refused to make us see the teacher. I think her intention was if she got the teacher into trouble, I think she was going to have issues with the other teachers, or she herself, she said she could also get into trouble herself. And I have a niece in Central Region. I asked her about this 1 city thing, and she said, yeah, you take 1 city. So there's 1 cedi from every child, every blessed day. For what? So if it's government, please, can we know? And number 2, if it's also possible for, like the handbooks, it's possible to put them online for us to know what is going on. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll take a few more questions. Please make the questions and contributions short and snappy.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniel Dusere from Life School Foundation. I've enjoyed the discussion. My question is, and my observation, so let me ask the question. We're talking about child protection. How well have we educated the parents? Because they are all stakeholders. And it's one ministry that we are not taught in school. And that's the problem we're having. The environment the child is raised alone is a problem. And so if we don't have a system in place that at least can teach the parents, they will have this problem. We will talk and talk about the child alone is exposed in the house, in the community before the school. One. Then the second question is, my research that I conducted, okay, not as a professional, most of the teachers, what informs them, what drives them to become a teacher, was a noble profession. And most of them, it becomes a last resort to what I want to do. So emotionally, psychologically, they are exposed to all kinds of vulnerabilities, and it comes, into play in the school environment. So I want to find out what's the commitment of it. Thank you.
I just wanted to add to the issues. It's not even 1 cedi, it's 1 cedi 15. And this has been, at least I raised this issue with the GS about 3 years ago, and it's all for sure. I have a teacher in the villages around me, and this boy wasn't going to school. So when I found out, I said he needed 1 cedi 50 a day for extra classes. And the extra classes are conducted 8 to 9 a.m., not after classes. And the headmaster is involved. And I knew if I went to the school, he would have trouble. He ended up because Grandma and she doesn't earn 1 cedi 50 a day. So he has to sit outside till about 9 o'clock and sit far away now so he can't hear what's going on. And this is during contact hours. So it's not everywhere. But my point is, even if it was extra classes outside the school, that at least then you can say option. The heads are involved. They are charging the fees. So this child eventually has to drop out of school because if you can't pay, then you are not even taught those lessons in the school. So the issue is about the supervision of the districts. And when we ask, they are not interested. So it's a major thing across the country. The second issue I wanted to raise, we are talking about parents should supervise the children in using the internet. How many parents across Ghana have laptops or other programs? Yes, I know. So how many must start with? What I'm saying is that what the school should do in the school, how many schools have those facilities? Go to most, this is what I'm talking about. The school has never had one computer, and yet they are taking computer. Yes. So what we are saying is that at the school level, can we do what the government says is doing at the school level? Because if you ask parents, who, even if they have TVs, sometimes they come out with a car battery attached in most of the schools, even greater crying. So I'm thinking that if at least the government, the GS and the supervisors will see what's happening in the school, it passes down to the parents, rather than say parents check. Because you check, you do it, that's a simple count.
My name is Rita Takimani, I'm coming from the St. Paul's College. My issue is very simple. First one, we are having a challenge with most of the JHS students. When they come to our school, they don't want to patronize the counseling department. So I thought you would have said something about it. I don't know what is happening. It's as if they are afraid. Because now the counseling department has been updated, and so it's not like when you go into that room, then you're a bad person. No, it has sections. So I think whilst we talk about the basic school, you have to empower those at the JHS about the counseling department so that when you come to the school. Oh, just a brief one. And then also for the counseling, now it's diverse. You know that we are having people having suicidal issue. With me, because of the boarding house, anything that comes to their mind that it is bad, they want to jump over. They want to jump over. So please also give us some handouts and books, please, for those of us who are counselors in the SHS, so that will handle the work well. Thank you.
Hopefully, you can get so much help.
Thank you, quick ones. The first because spoke about the reason for punishment, saying it is when the child goes wrong. 2, for correcting the child. My question is, why do you punish a child for getting 0/10? Some teachers punish children for getting 9/10 because they say this girl is very good, she should have got all correct. Now what about caning children for refusing to sleep? The nursery trainer, teacher, cane all the children for refusing to sleep during siesta. And then there's voice in the class and the teacher canes all the children. The last point is that a teacher, authority now, they ask the children to beat other children for wrong answers. So that experience, the child beat all the children, and the child said, what is the English name for yellow? They say puna, and for yellow, they say yellow puna.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll be brief. Now, I just want to remind ourselves here. You all remember when former President Obama came to Ghana, he made a statement that in Africa, or a black man country, we don't need strong men. What we need is strong institutions. And in strong institutions, doesn't mean we don't have the structures. The structures are we, the human beings. It is all about our culture and traditions that we never want to pay attention to. That is why we are having these problems. We like copy and paste too much. We'll get a time to talk about it, but let me come to this point. Now, about internet. Yes, parents were different. So I'm a lecturer at University of Education, but maybe I'm more enlightened to technology. I design a website and all that, so I know how to teach my children. But somebody, maybe my brother, my sister, don't know all these things. That has been my worry. My children are attending private school. I was just talking to him about the same extra class, so I'm happy I have colleagues here. But mine is private school. Every morning I have to pay 3 cedis. That's 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. before assembly. Extra class. Then after class, after they close 2 o'clock, they do another extra class and come home 5 o'clock. The child come home and starts sleeping. They are tired. I told them everything. So to cut it short, please, Ghana Education Service, you are the government. You have to lead by example. This is a country. The laws and policies must work. You shouldn't be talking in this country. It's too much. So they should establish a body that can go around and be monitoring and punishing so that this is United Kingdom wasn't like that. That's why they introduced the law. There was so much killings. If you go into their history, you know there was so much killings every day. And that's why they set up the law and also started punishing people and hanging people and all that. And that brought that sanity. So please,
thank you very much.
Leadership by example. We need a discount.
I think the point is well made.
Okay, please, I would like to ask if a teacher canes you and you send that teacher to a police and then the police comes for that teacher, isn't it also an abuse? Yes.
That's a very good question. Thank you very much. Mr. Tishi,
I have a few quick ones. I think private schools, we're talking about today, not the guidance and counseling. It's not reaching them. But then I think that GS should make sure that every private school has it. Okay, before they are given license to operate. I think we should enforce certain things. And then I was just wondering, PDA. maybe after this you should track abuses in school. Your tracker should extend to abuses in school. I don't know how we fashion it out there, but it's interesting to look at that. I think we should also have safe homes. Safe homes campaigns. And and safe communities. Because I think the school is just what do you call it? Macros, something like that. So, and for me, I always say that we have the structures in place to make these things work without paying much. In every corner of this country, there is a church and a mosque. And now we used to have shrines. Some are broken down, some are springing up. That's right. Now I see them advertising on the TV, multiplying money. So I think we can use these structures to reach communities. I always say that when churches are starting, the one-man churches, they start from the classrooms. Kanda, a lot of them have used Kanda. Otabe was saying last time, used Kanda. The moment they build their churches, then they lock it up. We should open all those churches who have access for children in this country.
All right.
So,
is that it? Okay.
No, sorry. The last one, just to cut it short. I think the problem we have is we don't place the ownership of the programs in the right hands. The children belong to parents. Let the parents be responsible. Let's start dealing and working with parents. There are a lot of men, who are born in. They just go and distribute children. Okay. And then they leave the women to suffer. Our inheritance laws don't even favor women. Okay. But it's the women who are bearing the burden. And we are not enforcing. So the men can get away with it. I just buried an uncle of mine on Saturday. 24 children. Okay. He never looked after any of the children. Okay, he was just distributing. Each one, 5, 3. Okay, so.
All right, thank you very much, Tony. Okay, so I'll begin with Clement, if you can start to react on the consensus.
I mean, in terms of why people decide to be teachers, that's an entirely new proposition on this one. In terms of motivations, it's very difficult to measure motivation. So that question really, I wonder whether anyone can respond to that. And there is an issue there about people's interest and whether they get fulfilled in the kind of profession they choose for themselves. We need to look into that and find a way of measuring that level of intention so that fulfillment will be attained in the schools. But generally, parents' involvement in the teaching of ICT, computer literacy, there's a very good question there. How many parents have laptops? How many parents have access to internet or even know about the internet and its hands? That brings to the question the duty that the school needs to have, but also society in general, in making sure that people are sensitized. And the question is, definitely the children need to know, but at which point do they need to know what? Your ability, and it's also closely related to sexual education and all those things that have generated a lot of controversy. We all know children need to know about their sexes, sexual reproductive health. They need to know about the internet. They need to know about how to play safe. But at which age is what information enough? You can't just start teaching a 5-year-old kid about internet and the dangers of it. You actually rather be telling them to go look for it. Your children are very explorative, right? The more they have questions, the more they explore. So you want to be sure you are not asking too many questions too quickly. So these are just things we probably need to reflect on. But definitely the society needs to take up some of those responsibilities, since parents, whilst we admit they have some responsibilities in there, may be limited in their abilities and availability of resources to do what they have to do.
Thank you. 2 minutes to react to the
Yes, in connection with the teachers, I think as a country we are making an effort to improve the quality of teachers we have. We all know that we are upgrading teacher training colleges to colleges of education. We have changed the entry requirements and so on, all towards improving
the quality of teachers that we finally get. Will that raise kind of, let me say, entry requirements? It's not going to be, I didn't get anywhere to go, let me branch here. It will be something that you would have worked hard for, and we expect that things will improve. So we are hoping that we'll get better teachers. There's a question that has been on my mind, which I'll leave with all of us here. We seem to be saying that safe schools is about corporal punishment and the bullying and so on, but there's a lot more. How friendly is the school environment for the child to feel safe enough and free enough to want to stay there to learn? The sanitation, the kind of people around, the playing fields, and so much. So maybe we should pay more attention to all those things when we are talking about safe schools. We have ramps for those with mobility problems. We have blackboards that are virtually white for children with seeing challenges and so on. It's a lot more. So we should look at all that, not just sexual abuse and so the tracker. We should look at all those things. But my question is, well, we are talking about, we've said a lot about parents. We've spoken about school. Between the school and the home, who takes care of the protection of the child? Who is responsible? If I send off my child to school, the child has gone to school, that's what we say. There's some accident on the way. Is it the teacher who will be blamed for not taking good care of the child? Or the parents who will be blamed for not taking good care? What if the child gets kidnapped and lost and so on? Who is responsible? So I want us to look at that conversation. Child protection at home, child protection at school, in between. Thank you.
I think that you will help out with some clarity on some of these questions.
A lot of responsibility on the school. Parents are not there. They leave home 5:30, 5 o'clock, and they leave one of the tables for children to go to school. And teachers accept that responsibility to do what parents are supposed to be doing. And so when the child not doing the right thing, they go to the school and demand that the teachers are not doing the right thing. That is why GACA has come to stay. GACA is connecting all the dots. Wherever children can be found. You see that? Let us build that circle of protection around the Ghanaian child. You see in school, you see the community, you see in those institutions, shelters for that people. When we come together, we collectively protect the child. And so currently, the Department of Community Development is engaging through mobile theaters and what have you, other modes, engaging with community members. GES is engaging teachers and other school staff. You see, the bus driver, the janitor, what are the things that they are doing to children in schools? The woman who sells food on accountants, the management and the kitchen staff. All of these will be better for but the participants ago, I had a case in Tema where a janitor inserted these were figures and the child driving past. This is a delegation from abuse. So we are engaging everybody that please come on board, let us come on board to protect the Ghanaian child. When all of us come to that agreement, they will believe that children will be protected wherever they find themselves. Our counselor from PRESIC, he said the children are not utilizing guidance services.
we have to make guidance that will provide in schools attractive. When the children come to you and they get to hear that whatever they reported to you, whatever they share with you, has been shared with other personnel in your school, and the child is going to people are looking at it in a certain way, he or she never comes to you. We need to afford them confidentiality. We need to be available. People take up decisions, school guidance coordinator, and when they are allowed to teach some minimal periods, and then they allow time to be able to engage the children, they go to their businesses and leave the school. How can the children come to the school? Come to your counseling center. So we are saying that please make yourselves available, make your offices, publicize your services. Let them know that there's a counselor, there's a shoulder where they can cry whenever they have a need. But if they cannot find you, then they will look for they will look elsewhere for these services. So all that I want to say is that please let us make our services attractive in our schools. Beating children for getting answers wrong, it is a big abuse. And in the teacher's handbook, again, page 42, it says that no child should be beaten for his or her inability to do arithmetic or numeracy or literacy. And these are some of the violations of the child that the teacher can be prosecuted in court of law. The teacher's handbook, the new one, 2010 edition, page 42. It is there, one of the bullet points, that it is wrong for any teacher to beat a child for not getting the maths or English or reading wrong. And indeed, some parents even beat their children just for the fun of it. They hit the child. Okay? And this is and they do this, they transfer this to the schools. It is wrong, so wrong. If the child knew, he would not come and sit under your feet to learn. Let us be a little patient, be an encouraging teacher, a loving teacher. There's a video that if I had an opportunity I would show where a teacher subjected a schoolgirl to emotional torture. The girl was known to be the worst in class, and then one day the girl said, no, I have to shake off the shackles. The girl wanted to write 5 or 5, the teacher didn't understand. All the girls come into the exam again. The girl came to see before her, did it 5 or 5. They said, no, she cancelled it. They do it again. The girl asked the teacher, must I always get it wrong? Or should I always fail? So he said, be an encouraging teacher. Be a loving teacher. Just make it a point to support the child. A good teacher is that teacher who is able to transform that bad student into a good. That is why I salute the University of Science and Technology for going to the villages there, hard-to-reach schools, and giving admission to those students of those schools. And those when they come take and they get opportunities, the electricity, and then explain to good lectures and what have you, they excel. And Mastercard Foundation is supporting those students. So if you grab the AA, the 111 students, and they come up with AA, you have not done anything. Go and grab those, go and get the 7 and the 8 and the 6, and then transfer them to become A students. And that's where we know that you are really doing the good work.
Just, before you hand over, you can quickly react to a young lady's question about if a teacher beats her and she goes to report to the police and the police comes to catch the teacher, is that also abuse?
It is, the girl has done the right thing, the police is doing the right thing, because you know what? Children are so vulnerable. They are the weaker constituent of the population. And so as a nation, we need to protect. That's why we have the Children's Act, the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, and all those laws and legislations protecting you. Whatever we do with you and around you, we must be in your benefit, it must relate to your benefit. Okay? So if a teacher beats a child and then the police goes to arrest that teacher, the police is working in the interest of the child. Then no teacher has the right. No teacher has the right to beat a child. Then that's why we have come up with alternatives. And indeed, when we use the positive discipline tools to engage children, they become inherently and intrinsically good. And they are disciplined. People always say that I was killed as a child because I was disciplined. When they grew up, the kid was removed. Are they disciplined? Let's
let the traffic lights say go off, and you see the disciplined Ghanaians who were disciplined in school, and now they're so keen. And all of us will get to the middle of the road, and we start to start on, let one of these guys who are on tracks come and stand in the middle of the road and say stop. And then those of us in suits will stop and obey those guys. If we're disciplined from childhood, it should transcend our adult lives. We are not a disciplined society. That's why we are saying that let us catch them young with the positive discipline tools, engage them, and they will become disciplined today, tomorrow, and forever.
All right, thank you, Mr. Boku. Thank you very much. The issue of extra classes and collection of money. I have to be frank that we have received several letters from GS headquarters, even our district, that is prohibiting us from collecting extra classes. Even with the new curriculum, there's no place for extra classes. But in fact, some of our colleagues, so this one is an issue for COPS, the Conference of Heads of Basic School. If we stand up and say nobody should indulge in that act, they wouldn't do it. But sometimes, once I was conversing with a colleague who's also heads, and sarcastically he said, oh, even the schools around the headquarters, they are all collecting. The one who will leave us and come to the inside and come and bully us. And when you check, it is true. I'm trying to be frank, my bosses are here. The schools around the headquarters, they are all doing so. They leave the schools around and come to the inside. We are at Akofio Power, Bogojebo, and come and harass as though that is on a lighter note. And the fact of the issue is that it's a directive from GES and we have to adhere to it. So we'll take it up as Conference of Heads of Basic School. That's the first one. And if you're a private school, you are under a directorate. You are not operating in a vacuum, you are under a directorate. So whatever directions come, you have to follow if you're a private school. Yes. On the issue of professionalism and the fact that some people, by virtue of default, enter into the teaching. I want to state emphatically that now, if you are not a serious teacher, you'll be kicked out of the system. There is a PTPDF policy. There is continuous professional development, etc. If you are not serious, you will find yourself out. You cannot fit into that environment. So that is the point. And if you are a professional teacher, you will not even administer a test for a child to get 0/10. No. Number one could be an example that every child would get that particular as a form of motivation. Correct. You can't administer a test for a child to get 0/10. That is demotivating. And yeah, so that is it. Madam asked or brought an issue to the fore. When the children are in the house, they are in the care of the parents. And that is where parents must exhibit responsibility through the child and family welfare system policy. You have to exhibit that responsibility. When the child is in the school, it's in the care of the school. When the child comes to school, the child must remain in the school until closing. Now the gap is, what about if the child is on the way? If we have sensitized our community through the PTA, etc., they are our watchdogs and they will protect the child. People in the community can even hold the hand of a child to cross the street to school, etc. So we have to do a lot of sensitization at the PTA. And we don't have to let the PTA be like a point where we'll be levying levies. There should be education at PTA. When PTA comes, let's talk about domestic violence. Let's talk about mosquito issues, malaria. Let's talk about some things at the PTA. It shouldn't be levies and levies. So that's my take.
Okay, so just on the issue of balance between private, on the balance between the responsibility of the school and the responsibility of the home. Whose responsibility should it be? And I mean, I'm just doing the question out there to the panelists and you can be trying to answer. Whose responsibility should it be to create that or to teach children about knowledge regarding their own bodies and how to protect themselves, or just knowledge on their own sexualities? Whose responsibility do you think that should be? I mean, just that way, less than 1 minute. And
all right. So, like we said, child protection is a shared responsibility. Every one of us, all stakeholders, parents, number one. Even comprehensive sexuality education should start in the home, right? In the home, you should teach your child that this is that. Don't use certain words like akai, kulu, kulu, and all those things. Mention the names. This is your this is your that. And I am shy. So parents should start from the home. Then when they get to school, we add the academics and the moral aspects.
It's a combined responsibility. It's a combined responsibility. Is that the sheep?
One person gives birth to a child and takes the whole village to raise that child. So, if we hide behind our Methodism and Presbyterianism and Roman things and not say it, the children will know it from their friends, from Andrew. And how reliable will this, the future they are getting from Andrew and their friends be? So, for me, I want to say that let us rise up to the occasion, learn the right things, and teach to our children.
So the school should take responsibility.
The teachers, let's, because if the thing is that if we do not do it, they will get the information. And that's the risk. There's a high risk, but the source of that information.
So the issue is that the older you go out to search for it, so you want to stay ahead and then share exactly the content of what they learn is. Right, it's new.
We should teach it in the age-appropriate content. Age-appropriate content.
I think that's
developmental approach. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Age appropriate. Foundations are very important, you all agree. There are things that the parents should teach the child in the house before it's time even for the child to go to school. If a child, we know these children, they start playing with their bodies. You tell them what it is. You tell them what not to do with it. Imagine a small boy standing there playing with their penis. Tell them, oh, you don't play with this. If the child asks you what it is, you say it's called whatever. And so when the child goes out and somebody talks about it using the real name, it's like the person is talking about something else. It's not what you spoke to him or her about. Then all your effort, if even you made the effort at educating the child, would be wasted. Tell the child, you see this place. In fact, at some point in time, maybe about 9, maybe these days when they come earlier, 8, when those small things are there, make them aware of what they are. It's like mine, this is the beginning. Or even earlier, this is my breast. When you grow a bit, you get breast. You see, these ones, they don't have because they are young. When you grow, and you make them aware of what they are for and when they can be useful, so that they understand before they go out. So I think parents first, and then teachers can talk about it.
All right, thank you. Clement, very quick one, less than a minute.
Yeah, just one or two quick things. I mean, we have very good policies on almost everything. Implementation, but it's not just about implementation at the education office level, but also building capacities of teachers and head teachers and the real users of the information. That is very critical. How we do that, we need to figure it out and make it work.
Thank you very much, Clement. Please, it's almost lunch time, but I want to steal 5 to 10 minutes of your time to let the director for the girl child education come in very quickly on this issue to help us with some clarity.
Thank you. There were issues about extra classes money, and I just want to respond. GS management has written letters, and they were very clear that no school should collect levies. Several letters have gone to school. See, but in the questioning, what I was hearing was government schools, public schools. We have come out that they should take money. So everybody here should get it right that management says no collection of fees. No, that's what the private schools, they manage, it is a private faith-making enterprise. But with the public schools, it is no. So if you have a public school taking money, then it means that we are going against the directives of GES management. So if you happen to come across such a school, please let us know. You know, as schools are many, we won't be visited, we will not stay there, we'll move to another place. So whoever is doing wrong will only watch us leave and they will be able to do that. But when you come across these people, let us know. So that when they are sanctioned, others will see. There was a time heads of some schools, they have been demoted in Accra here because of the collection of fees. The reason is that every child has the right to education. And we don't want anything to be a barrier to any child's education. Our figures are not the same. It's not every parent who can afford. So, every child counts. We want every child to be in school. So we don't just want any collection of money. And if they say, oh, even the schools around headquarters, all schools cannot be around headquarters and all schools cannot be elsewhere. They are distributed evenly so that wherever a child is, the person will have access to those schools. So if they say schools around us are collecting money, we are not aware of that. All we are saying is every school, whether close to headquarters or wherever it is, no collection of extra classes fees. So this is the stand of GES management. The circulars are gone, several are gone.
Thank you so much to my wonderful panelists here. Very, very key issues were raised. And I mean, hopefully we want to put together a really good